Congratulations, Random. You are indeed first. I have some delicious pasta.
Stop! Right now! Stop!
These cops are involved in a high-speed pursuit with a reckless drunk driver in the snow.
He's taking off on me. He's driving on the inside shoulder. He's all over the road. He's back in the median. I think he's going to try to turn around there. I think he's stuck.
And then they find out that the driver is actually one of their fellow deputies.
And we're going to need you out here. It's him. Stop! Right now! Stop!
Surely they didn't turn off their body cams, actively try not to obtain evidence against him, and give him a paid vacation, did they?
He fell down, he smells like whiskey.
Well, no discussion whatsoever.
Yeah,
on the way in there.
Yeah. Come on, Zig.
I know, dude. It's not too bad.
Blaha, I don't need $2. Let me see.
All right, I'm going to give you guys some statistics here because this is what is
I'm going to guess this is going to be very racist.
trackable through all the data we have available. You know, everyone always talks about how high our murder rate is in the U.S., and they blame it on our firearms and everything else, but the reality is one tiny demographic commits 55% of all murders in the
There we go. There we go.
United States, and it's black males. So we could say that's 13% of the population, or we could say just the males is 7%, 55% of the murder rates. Out of the remaining 40-something, people say, well, you know, that's still pretty high. True, our murder rate gets cut in half. But if you start breaking that down even further...
This doesn't really have much to do with racial demographics. It has to do with gang violence specifically. It's just that, yeah, a lot of the gangs that are committing these shootings just happen to be black gangs.
Because when you're like, well, it says, you know, white people do this, except that that includes all Latinos also. When you start breaking that down further, you're left with only around 20% of all homicides of the largest demographic of people in the country are committed by. Okay? That starts to become very comparable, only slightly higher than mostly disarmed European countries. Our problem is not the firearms. And you can say that.
He wants to suggest the problem is the blackies. If he were smart, he would just point out the fact that if you account for just population size, density in large metropolitan areas, there actually isn't a discrepancy in homicide rates between the US and other countries.
Statistic means whatever you want to say, well, that statistic's racist. Well, you can call statistics racist, but it doesn't change what those statistics are. Can you counter that point that that is what the
He's right in the wrong way. But yeah. Thanks for the donation, Blaha. What's better, cherries or blueberries? I'd say cherries taste better. Blueberries are probably better for you.
Okay, I have a product that you absolutely have to have right now. By the way, this message is sponsored by Raycon. So are you like me and you've never Illinois, deputies spotted a speeding truck traveling in excess of 80 miles per hour in extremely dangerous snowy conditions. They try to stop the truck, but it speeds away. Due to the snowy conditions, they temporarily cut off the pursuit. Then they found the vehicle again, still driving recklessly.
Macon 36. I'm attempting a traffic stop on a pickup truck, 51 north of Schaefer. He is driving in the median ditch.
The driver refuses to stop and instead flees, pulling into the snowy median.
It's a blue Chevy Silverado. taking off on me. He's driving on the inside shoulder. He's all over the road.
What's your speed, Thursday?
Right now I'm at 52 miles an hour. He's back in the median. I think he's going to try to turn around there and go back south.
Careful road conditions.
They're spotty. He's in the median again. I'm at 10 miles an hour.
And then performing an illegal U-turn, speeding away in the opposite direction. The officer catches up to him, finding him stuck in the snow, once again in the median, trying to perform yet another illegal U-turn.
I think he's stuck in the median.
The officer is able to identify the driver as one of his co-workers, Deputy Andrew Ziegler. But despite being stuck, Ziegler is still refusing to stop. So the officer opens his door and he shouts at Ziegler to stop. But he once again speeds away, eluding his co-workers yet again.
Command, we're going to need you out here. It's him. Stop! Right now! Stop! He's out of the median, just took off northbound.
Officers then locate the truck a third time, this time stuck for good, once again in the median. So at this point, the officers know that this is one of their co-workers, one of their fellow deputies, Andrew Ziegler. They all know each other. One of the deputies calls out on a loudspeaker to open the door. But Ziegler does not do that. Instead, he continues to spin his tires to try to continue to flee. But fortunately, he is stuck for good this time.
Still trying to spin the tires.
Benched 3 plates at the gym today.
Let me take a look. Oh, wow. You actually benched it. You didn't use elbow wraps and lift your ass way off the bench. Nice job. That's a pretty big milestone. Good lift, dude. Thanks for the donation, Matthew.
I'm out with him. We're Washington, half a mile west of 51. Andrew Ziegler. Turn the truck off. Open the door. There's your shot. Give up. Turn the truck off. Open the door. And you're up with your hands up. And knock them out with the firearm. You want to grab your rifle? Lincoln 36, we didn't get an answer to the residence. And 26 getting out the other end. Turn the truck off, open the door, and come out. It's over. He's still trying to get out. I'm about 4 foot still. And I got Terminator we can talk about back tire. I would say he's not going to be. Turn the truck off and step out. Andrew Ziegler.
How crazy is this? For an extended period of time, they're shouting over the loudspeaker to get out of the car, to open the door, to turn the car off. But he's not doing it. He's not complying. What is Deputy Andrew Ziegler doing? He is not getting out of his car. He's not complying. He is trying to spin his tires and flee the scene. And
If this wasn't a cop, they'd have their guns drawn and going up to the vehicle.
yet these officers, his co-workers, are just allowing this to continue on and to continue on. How would this be going differently if it were you or I in these circumstances? They're not doing anything. They're not taking any action at all. They just continue to give these commands over the loudspeaker that are then ignored.
Open the door, we got to walk up and come back through it.
I have the subject on the phone. I'm telling him to turn off his truck and to come out and listen to your felony stop.
Open the door, get stuck, just around,
He's finally looking out.
walk after me. Yep, slowly, no, I get it.
Hey, we're just being careful.
I know.
It's nothing against you.
I know.
You know we got a job to do, all right?
I do.
All right.
We're 94.
211.
I know we got to check. You know we got to check.
I do.
19 copies have
Why?
just hung
Is
up
there
the
anybody
phone.
else in there? No. Why, dude?
Don't ask us for it.
They take him into custody, they put him in handcuffs, they search him, and Ziegler's just sort of miffed about the whole thing, like this is just inconveniencing him.
Dude, there's nobody in that truck. Dude, there's nothing in here. No, there's not.
I got his fucking knife out.
I'm stupid as fuck.
Alright, G, I'm gonna give you a 21.
Yeah, this guy's drunk as fuck.
Okay.
Stand by. I'm trying to get a hold of number 1 and number 2.
Yep, number 1, number 2.
Yeah, I'll do it. Hold on, I can't feel my hands.
I can't do that.
Meanwhile, the supervisor shows up and he sits in his police car and he has a phone conversation with, I guess, his boss about what's going on, explaining that their employee has just done all this. He's apparently extremely drunk. And how are we going to handle this?
He's extremely 55. Do we want to try to get state to come out and take that? For, do you know who from state's coming? 10-4, is there any way you can contact or make contact with him, give him my cell phone number, and have him give me a 21 as soon as possible?
They're literally trying to coordinate so that they don't have to, like, arrest this guy.
It doesn't. I don't see any. We can check it. I don't see any actual damage. I think he just drove off and got stuck. He's in about a 4-foot drift. Because when they were doing the felony stop on him, it was all why are you doing this? What? Yeah, no, he's not even close. Nothing else. I'll have the 3 of them take him in. I'll stay out here with the vehicle. Well, we're not. Either way, they're not going to be able to do fields out here. It's nothing but ice. So they can take him in there and put him in the DUI room or put him in an interview room until state can get there. And I'll do it once over on the truck again, but I don't see any apparent damage to it. Yep. All right.
Not from where I can see, no.
Didn't see any damage to the truck, did you?
Not from where I can see, no.
I think he just drove off and got stuck.
While I was trying to get him stopped, I don't know how he missed the median road signs, but he didn't hit anything.
Apparently number 1's in
26.
26. Done for.
Keep him coming.
Keep him coming. Did you see any damage to the truck?
No. I mean, other than...
Have your rider get pictures of the truck, and then he's in Blake's car, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have you and Blake transport him in.
Okay.
Have your guy get pictures, and then try to get distances back towards 51.
Logan Paul leaked his fight with Bradley Martin.
Oh, he must be having beef with Bradley. Because he wasn't supposed to release this. Apparently it was pretty embarrassing.
You know what, I'm fucking with you, right? That prime protein is good. Yeah, no shit, bro. It's 32 grams of protein. You got 2 grams of sugar? Yeah, and it's lactose free. Because it's ultra filtered milk. What's that? Ultra filtered milk. We remove the excess sugars from the milk, leaving just the protein. It's actually bomb if you want to try it. I'll try some. All right. Yeah. Hold on. All right.
Let me try this.
Oh.
It's good, right? Really good.
Oh, yo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's bomb. It's
That's
good,
just
really
a
good.
joke.
Let's do this though. All right, bet. Come on. All right.
Oh, yo.
All right.
Yeah, that's... pretty sure that's, like, fake. Thanks for the donation, Pooh. I know they wrestled, and Bradley didn't want to have it filmed. Because he's got this weird complex about losing fights. But thanks for the donation, Pooh.
If you've got any other spots other than this one that he was off the road, get photos, and then I may have you stop
Where he went off.
where he went off on him. There's several.
Where was that?
Between Space Mark and Schallenberger.
It wasn't very far north of Schaefer where it started.
Okay.
You'll be able to tell because there's snow all the way across the road where he come back on.
And you want us to do the tow sheet?
And that the Illinois State Police is coming to the scene to take over the investigation. That was in the context of discussing the fact that Ziegler was so drunk that he smelled like whiskey and he was falling down. So in the context of that, they say, well, ISP is coming.
He fell down, he smells like whiskey.
Well,
and that's when the supervisor signals to the other deputies his body cam.
Oh my god. Police corruption is just insane.
And so they all then mute.
Yeah, and then they mute their body cams. Oh no, evidence against our buddy.
Their body cams, including the supervisor, thereby destroying potential evidence that we could now listen to and ISP could listen to about what had happened. But then the deputy who was directed to drive Ziegler to the police station did turn his body cam audio back on eventually.
Okay, he's gonna give you the lowdown.
did you go through the truck?
No.
Go through it, make sure there's his duty pistol or a pistol's not in there. I'm gonna have you and the Janes take him in the post. Whatever ISP decides they're gonna do, they can take care of all that in there. Versus out here in the middle of 3-degree temperature. I'm gonna have his rookie take pictures of where the car is, get distances for where he was off the road here, and then anything on 51 that they observe. And then
Yeah, we went down 51 and it was...
And it caught the supervisor directing him not to speak to Ziegler during the drive.
MC1 is on his way in.
Yeah, they're literally trying to destroy, cover up, or prevent any evidence from being gathered.
No discussion whatsoever.
Yeah,
on the way in there.
If only they'd be so generous with you.
Funny Stephen A. Smith clip.
Let me take a look. Charlie Kirk caught 8 receptions for 144 yards.
Kirk catch 8 receptions for 144 yards.
Yeah.
We saw
Christian Kirk.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Oh my God, Christian Kirk. We saw Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, whoops. It's funny how that made sense. Thanks for the donation though, Pooh.
Yeah, I just, yeah, he's just keep going on and on.
Yeah, no, just ignore me.
So just get turned around and I'll get James following.
And usually when you arrest somebody, you put them in the back of the police car. There's cameras and audio there for a reason, because they're running their mouths, they're incriminating themselves, they're providing evidence to be used in the prosecution against them. And the chief is directing the deputy who's going to drive not to engage in any conversation that would incriminate Deputy Ziegler.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
I know.
You, like, they have no fucking respect or honor for their own job. Just none. Like, dirty, fucking pathetic, fucking retarded cop, drinking and driving. Just no respect for the position they have. Like, yeah, this guy, like rather than thinking, this guy is bringing shame to our profession, shame to everybody in the department, making everybody, like, think cops are, like, dumbass scumbags. Let's get rid of this fucking guy. Let's get all the evidence against him. Get this asshole fired so he doesn't make everyone look bad. No, let's cover up evidence. Let's make sure nothing bad happens to him. Hopefully we can, like, protect him so this, like, fucking drunk retard can keep his fucking job as a cop. Like, it's just insane.
I know.
It shows you just how unseriously these people take their own fucking job.
It's not their fault.
So this happened on December 15th of 2025. The next day, the sheriff of Macon County, Illinois, Jim Root, issued a press release about this incident. The press release states that Mr. Ziegler was ultimately charged by the Illinois State Police with driving under the influence, and that he was cited and released with a pending court date, which I looked up, and it's in February, so it has not happened yet. But the press release also states that Mr. Ziegler was immediately placed on paid administrative leave.
Oh, he gets a free paid vacation. That's great. If only everyone else could get, like, a free paid vacation if they get caught drinking and driving. Oh my God.
Pending an internal investigation concerning his actions that evening and the resulting criminal and traffic charges. So there you have it. This guy is a deputy who fled from his own police department multiple times. They tried like 3 times to catch him. They finally did catch him. He refused to obey all these commands. How many videos do we watch where just very, very innocuous behavior gets charged?
Oh, dude. I've seen the police commit, like, do felony stops on people because they didn't pull over to the side of the road right away. They just, like, took a turn so that they're off the main road, and then they pull over. And then they'll do a felony stop. Well, they'll point a gun at your fucking head. Why the fuck didn't you stop right away? Why didn't you stop right away? And then you're like, I just took a turn so that we're not on the main road and we wouldn't get hit. You fucking stop when you're supposed to stop. Get on the ground now. Like, it's crazy. And then this guy fucking flees and they try to cover for him. And then he gets fucking free vacation.
As all sorts of serious stuff by the police. Obstruction and failure to obey commands and so on. How many commands did this deputy fail to obey? How many other crimes did he?
Yeah. Don't take the cops seriously. They're just fucking tools, dude.
Is the United States about to invade Greenland? Let me play President Trump's actual words.
How much money are you thinking of giving people in Greenland to get them on board with a possible U.S.
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor.
And you know, when I hear that, I think of that scene in The Dark Knight where the Joker sees Harvey Dent in the hospital.
Do I really look like a guy with a plan? You know what I am? I'm a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I caught it.
You have to understand, one thing the president likes to do is antagonize people because it's good television. Remember that first meeting with President Zelensky?
This is going to be great television, I will say that.
Invading Greenland is good television, or at least talking about it is. It panders to his base. It's a good soundbite. And you know what? In 3 days, he's going to say something else that's going to make people lose their minds.
Then everyone loses their minds.
So let me spoil the ending for you right now. The United States is not going to invade Greenland. And that's not because we're nice, and it's not because we're scared, but because doing so would be one of the fastest ways to dismantle global American power without firing a shot. So let me break this down. First off, if you like this stuff explained clearly, grab my Intel Life sweatshirt from Bunker Branding. You can also follow me on Substack. It's free, but if you toss me $5, I really wouldn't mind. And hey, you know, my latest novel, Lies to Rule Men, that's out on Audible finally. And it's kind of funny, you know. President Sharma thought he could walk right into Deseret. Greenland really is essential to American national security. The world is heating up. I don't mean that there's more conflicts. I mean the world is physically getting hotter. The Arctic ice caps are melting. This will open up a Northwest Passage. China or Russia can control that Northwest Passage, or the United States can. And, you know, one of the concerns about Greenland is that back in 2019, China bid on an airport project, and with it alone for like, I think it was $550 million, that there was no way Greenland could ever pay back. It was like 20% or 18.5% of their economy. And this is part of the Chinese playbook for the three warfare strategy, which is public opinion, psychological warfare, and legal warfare. So the whole idea behind China's strategy is make a loan that the host country can't pay back. When they can't pay it back, you confiscate the airport. And then you use this pressure to make that host nation give you rights to establish a base there. And what are you going to do? You owe China $500 million. So here's why we're not invading Greenland. Number one, this would detonate NATO instantly. Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark. Denmark is a NATO ally. Invading Greenland wouldn't be a dispute. It wouldn't be like a gray zone. It wouldn't be some clever loophole. It would be the United States attacking a treaty ally. Everyone talks about NATO Article 5. Nobody talks about NATO Article 1, which says the parties undertake, as set forth in the Charter of the United Nations, to settle any international disputes in which they may be involved by peaceful means in such a manner that international peace and security and justice are not endangered, and to refrain in their international relations from the threat or use of force in any matter inconsistent with the purpose of the United Nations. NATO wouldn't survive the week. And you know, once in a while, some idiot in Congress tries to institute a bill to pull the U.S. out of NATO. And they get to pander to their base. But the truth is that we need NATO on our bases in Europe as much as NATO needs America backing them up as the big brother. Which leads me to number two. Europe is not optional for U.S. power. And here's the part that people always miss. The U.S. military does not operate from the continental United States alone. We don't teleport forces around the planet. We move them through bases, ports, airspace, logistics hubs, owned by allies. Europe is really the spine of that system. I mean, how many guys were wounded in Iraq? Where did they send you back to? Germany, right? Let me give you another example. Rota, Spain. Rota is not just a base, it's one of the few places in Europe where US Navy destroyers can reload their vertical launch missile systems safely. You can't reload VLS at sea, at least not easily, although we used to be able to, and now we're trying to figure out how to do it again. You need specialized infrastructure, you need security, you need host nation permission. You lose Rota, Spain, the whole surface fleet just became a one-way shooter. You won't be able to project power like the recent strikes we had in Syria if you have to go all the way back to the United States to reload your magazines. You need bases like in Rota, Spain. Germany is the center of U.S. air mobility. Italy is critical for Mediterranean operations. The UK hosts frontline fighters like the F-35. All of those would have to come home. And Norway and Iceland matter for the North Atlantic. I mean, Greenland is great to have, but the GI-UK gap, or Greenland-Iceland-United Kingdom gap, that's where all the Russian submarines come through. How would you like to lose Iceland and the UK? Which are two nations we need to make sure Russian submarines aren't getting into the Atlantic, or if they are, where they're going. All of this goes away if Europe suddenly decides, we're done. And yeah, they can decide that. Third thing here is pre-positioned equipment would be in danger. And this is the one that should make logisticians break out in hives. Again, when somebody starts running their mouth, ask them about logistics. All right, logistics is the decider of anything military. The U.S. Army has pre-positioned stocks all over Europe. not just like a little gear. We have entire armored brigades worth of equipment. They're stored in warehouses. It's instant armored brigade, just add soldiers. The idea is simple. In a crisis, the soldiers fly in and they draw the gear that's already on the continent. Tanks, Bradleys, artillery, ammo, bridging equipment.
Yeah,
if we were to invade Greenland, we'd have to bring all that equipment home first. Doing so would require European rail.
Yeah, the U.S. wouldn't be able to destroy the NATO alliance. Trump yaps a lot about complete nonsense because he's like an actual retard, but yeah, you kind of have to frame everything with Trump with a smart person gave him advice, and then Trump's an idiot, and he just says the dumbest thing.
European ports, European contracted trucks. We can't just take it back, right? This requires cooperation that would no longer exist. So we'd have to start pulling our stuff out right now. And if we're willing to write off entire divisions worth of equipment that we can't easily replace, yeah, let's invade Greenland. What the hell? You know, every host nation wakes up the next morning with American equipment sitting on their soil, and at that point, it's not American gear anymore. You know, there would be plenty of host nations that would say, you know what, this is host nation controlled property now. Best case is access to that equipment is denied. Worst case, confiscation. And we can't go to war with every country in Europe to get back our equipment because we don't have the European bases anymore to stage out of. So you've just erased decades of planning and billions of dollars of equipment with one bad decision for a soundbite on TV.
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
Number 4 here, command and control collapses. Wars aren't just bombs, they're spreadsheets, they're permissions, they're coordination, there's ISR. European countries provide airspace access. We fly over various European countries when we're going on these missions. They provide civil aviation deconfliction. We have to know what civilian aircraft is in flight, and we might have to tell them to get out of the way. They provide satellite uplinks. They provide routes for fiber, undersea cable, ISR data sharing among all NATO allies. All of that depends on agreements that we have. You break those agreements, suddenly nothing moves fast anymore. We get a lot of our shared intelligence from European partners now. We can still cut our own deals with host nations for intelligence sharing on a case-by-case basis, but it's far easier right now with current NATO agreements in place. Break up NATO, everything gets slower and harder to do. In modern war, that's going to kill you. Now, the 5th thing is kind of like the Greenland irony here.
Yeah, computer, I don't know why you'd comment something so fucking stupid. If you're not even paying attention to anything that's said in the video, why the fuck are you even talking?
The funniest part of this whole story is that the U.S. already gets what it wants from Greenland. We already have a major base there where we do missile warning and space tracking. We already have Arctic access with Denmark's permission. There's no strategic upside. 6th thing here is the China problem. I've often said that the first thing I think of when I wake up and the last thing I think of before I go to bed is how to fight China next year, because that's coming. If the U.S. invades Greenland, China doesn't have to do anything clever. They just sit back and say, this is what American leadership looks like. Every non-aligned country starts recalculating. Even aligned countries start calculating. If you're Australia or Japan or South Korea, this is where you start thinking about cutting a deal with the devil. In this case, the devil's still China. You don't weaken China by proving their propaganda right. Invading Greenland would end NATO as a functional alliance, strip the U.S. of European basing, allowing us to perform our missions, destroy prepositioned logistics, hand China a strategic win. Honestly, it would reduce global power projection dramatically, all for Greenland. And this isn't hypothetical. This would be immediate. And the math here is brutal. Taking Greenland by force would be a massive strategic headache and not worth the cost. So now the United States is not invading Greenland. And if you hear someone confidently saying we are, they're not thinking like a logistician. You want more breakdowns like this? RyanPet.substack.com, $5. It's ad-free. It helps keep this channel alive. And if you're wearing one of my shirts right now, congratulations. You're automatically correct in the comments. But if you're not, grab one at bunkerbranding.com. I also have signed copies of live.
Yeah, so if anything, the U.S. might buy Greenland, or they'll just make some sort of defense deal. That's really it.
It's just, what can he do about it? Is he going to send troops? Is he going to send aircraft? Yeah, it's not really a betrayal. It's just kind of reality.
Oh, yeah. Has Frank uploaded anything? Let me see. Oh. My God, my keyboard is terrible. Oh, here we go. Okay, he's complaining about his TikTok getting banned again.
Now, this was really strange to me when I saw this pop-up. I was like, oh, I'm just banned again. But then I read this and I was like, huh? Your account was banned because of serious misconduct outside the platform that goes against our community guidelines. You may appeal by writing to account appeal at bytedance.com if you have information or evidence that gives us valid reasons to reconsider our decision. Now, TikTok...
It's ByteDance. How does he not know what ByteDance is?
TikTok has never given me any reason why I've banned in any capacity. My assumption is because, you know, these plastic surgeons and these doctors and these people that I expose are losing a lot of money and they don't like me telling the truth. I already have active lawsuits against TikTok. Obviously, the courts don't care. They're going to protect these large platforms, and I'm never going to get any justice. And then I just get censored and deplatformed. And the real despicable thing is...
Frank initiated a lawsuit against Dr. Taban where he's asking for $500 million. And he's trying to do everything to delay the court case. He tried to include a bunch of other litigants, and they were all dismissed from the case. And Taban's trying to push for a jury trial. And Frank keeps trying to make up bullshit for why he can't pay court fees.
Is all of these other online influencers that have never spoken up for me or ever even mentioned my name. They're just as evil as these online platforms.
So Frank's gonna declare bankruptcy. So Frankie's free-range meat will be no more. He even admitted he's not sure if he can even ship out any orders. So, yeah, he is just gonna declare bankruptcy, and he's scamming people with a donation page saying to donate to save his business, which... It's already done. They're already foreclosing on his property, so he's just going to declare bankruptcy. And he's trying to scrape up as much cash as he can so that he can get more plastic surgeries or something. I don't know what he's really planning on doing with the fucking money, but they're just going to sell off. He's just going to declare bankruptcy, sell off his assets, and then he does do sex work, and apparently he's been doing it consistently. He never stopped. He had an OnlyFans account. I only just found out about his OnlyFans account. He got banned, I think, a year or two ago. So he's probably just doing sex work on some other platform, or he's still doing like escort work or some shit. So he's probably just going to go back to whoring himself out to make ends meet. But like, wow, dude. He made $5 million in gross income the year before. And he, for whatever reason, just didn't pay his mortgage. He only owed like 13 grand. So like this seems to have been his plan all along, just to declare bankruptcy. Like he just didn't want to do this anymore. But it also seems like he was trying to fraud his insurance providers. There's something wrong with him. I think he's like a drug addict or something. Like it's just bizarre, weird, nonsensical behavior. So I think he's just addicted to drugs, and he's like mentally ill, and he's just doing some of the dumbest shit fucking imaginable.
Buster, do you know what we're going to do today?
Oh my goodness.
We are going to pick some blueberries. can smell them.
My goodness. Wow. Dude, why is the quality so shit? Holy fuck. Why? It's only on this PC that YouTube does this.
Oi, look, Buster.
What's Brian Johnson doing?
It's a really big dose. What's it like seeing your dad do a psychedelic? Yeah, my whole body's vibrating. Because last time I did
for this trip,
we're trying to say what therapies in the world could actually help us slow down our speed of aging and reverse aging damage. Now,
11.
All right. Whoa.
I'm excited. I'm
the scale.
Yeah, I just
mushroom trips are so fucking intense.
Feel so still. I can feel the strain. It just asks for silence.
Mm-hmm.
God, what's going on with him?
That kind of cured of their all of their ailment, motor control, or
to some extent. Brian's tripping out.
I think there's a lot of this talked about that, because the DNA
spiritual practice,
plant medicines have been.
We now have Dr. Siga back. Hi, Carl.
What's going on?
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, they make me laugh like crazy.
It's like my buddy, like it's kind of like I gotta chew or something like. Right, I feel like that was like you wanted me to get a bad score.
Yeah.
Talmadge, I have outsourced the whole situation.
Yeah, interesting. I usually get like really crazy, horrific anxiety, especially on the come down for mushrooms.
Hello everyone, my name is Alex and today I'm wearing Ukraine t-shirt, which means you on a channel.
Any tips on how I can fix my form on deadlift? Should I get a coach to review my lift video online or in person? Person might not be willing, so... Fuck. My knee. I mean, you can send me clips and I can review them on stream. I think one thing that people kind of need to accept with lifting is a lot of the time you're not going to be able to improve your form like just in one day. You have your own unique body mechanics, and you have to do something over and over and over and over again repeatedly over a long period of time for your like brain and nervous system to figure out the most efficient way to perform a lift. That is, I think, especially true on something like squat and deadlift. Deadlift seems like a pretty simple kind of lift to perform, but it's deceptively mechanically complicated. But yeah, like you may feel really weird and awkward deadlifting for a while, but you just need to keep doing it over a long period of time, and your brain and nervous system end up finding a way to coordinate your body in the most ideal way over a long period of time. Like that's why if you're doing something like martial arts where you're talking about like extremely technical movements, you just have to keep doing it. You're not going to be able to like go to a martial arts instructor and like have them explain to you, how do I perform the perfect roundhouse kick? And then they can break down the technique to you. You're still not going to be able to perform a perfect roundhouse kick just because you got that instruction. It's something that requires practice over and over and over and over and over again for like many months or years in order to perfect, like, you know, these techniques. So, if there's any obvious like technique issues, you know, obviously somebody can help you, but you do kind of have to just accept the fact that lifting is a technical thing and you are just going to have to practice it, and you'll just kind of like some of these things you're just going to figure out and work out on your own. I've tried so much shit, deloaded it, and my deadlift is close to my squat now because of it. Sucks my backgrounds. It's totally fine to have a rounded back on the deadlift. That's, I think especially for, taller lifters, you probably want to have a slightly rounded back. But you can send me videos that I can react to on stream, and I can tell you if I notice anything particularly problematic. I'm doing power cleans because I'm not a super beginner doing starting strength. Prefer doing deadlifts more, but at the weights I'm at might cause fatigue. Well, what you can do is you can just do lighter days. So you can just have days where the weight is very, very light. So like around 50%, your 1 rep max. And just do like sets of 3 with 50% your 1 rep max, just for technique practice. And what you can do is you can try to move the weight like very quickly, and just see. It's a good way of determining what the ideal movement pattern is, because if there's a technique deficiency where you're not getting ideal leverages, you're not going to be able to move the weight as quickly. So it's a good way of practicing where you're not fatiguing yourself like crazy, but you'll get a good gauge of what an ideal movement pattern is for you.
Channel Alex from Ukraine, and today we are joined by a very special guest, OSINT analyst, YouTube.
I can just look off stream. I can have the video playing off camera and I can tell you what I see.
Creator and author Ryan Macbeth. Thank you for joining us today, Ryan.
Well, thank you for having me again.
Last week, Vladimir Putin faced a major humiliation after the Russian tanker Marinera was seized. Just days later, the UK government announced plans to introduce legal mechanism to seize additional vessels from Russia's so-called shadow fleet. Does this signal that the US has effectively set a precedent, opening the door for other countries to go after Russia's shadow fleet as well?
Yes, I mean, theoretically, yeah. Ukraine has never had an excuse.
My screening of 28
never
years
needed
later,
an excuse to do that. When the U.S. did it, was how the response from Russia wasn't all that great. They fired an Oreshnik missile, like whatever. They don't have a lot of those things. But what's kind of interesting is that it's almost like President Putin doesn't want to antagonize President Trump. He'd rather let him have that victory, let him take that tanker, fine, whatever. And that still leaves the door open for negotiations for Ukraine, rather than taking a more hardline stance against against taking that tanker. Mainly because it just makes it easier to try to negotiate for Ukraine's surrender if you don't piss Trump off, right? So, one leaky oil tanker versus getting what Putin wants in Ukraine, it's a kind of an easy political choice.
Since the United States has already seized the Marinera, a tanker linked to a businessman from annexed Crimea, could the British initiative mark the beginning of a full-scale maritime blockade of Russian energy exports in Europe?
Sego Donny Tillers, is this the coworker from Malcolm in the Middle? I can't unsee it. Oh, yeah. He does look a lot like Ryan Macbeth. I don't think they're the same person, though. Thanks for the donation, Sago.
It certainly could. That all depends on how other countries view these tankers. I mean, one of the issues is that a lot of these tankers, they, for some countries to take action against them, what they have to do is kind of enter their territorial waters, right? And a lot of these shadow fleet tankers, what they do is they stay outside of certain waters. So there are shades of gray to the shadow tanker fleet or to the black fleet. So you might have a tanker and the shadow fleet is essentially a shadow fleet because a lot of these vessels aren't insured, or they go under different flags of convenience, or they turn off or spoof their transponders. So one thing that's done is they'll have an oil tanker fill up with oil, and they'll go outside that 12-mile limit in international waters. They'll offload that oil to a shadow fleet tanker. That shadow fleet tanker will take it near its destination, where another registered ship will come out and accept oil from that tanker. Now that sounds great, right? It sounds like a great scam you got going there. But I think the difference is that if there is some sort of oil spill in international waters, well, typically the insurance company or the agency for that, the owner of that ship will have to remediate that oil spill. But if there's no insurance, then what do you do, right? So that's kind of the interesting thing here. I think a lot of countries, they don't want to mess with these tankers in international waters. But now, like, once they come into that particular country's territory, they could try to capture or intercept that tanker.
Given Donald Trump's statement that he doesn't need international law, could Britain seizure of vessels become part of a new global doctrine, one where raw power outweighs maritime law and international conventions?
I certainly think that is a possibility that could change the way people operate. But, I can kind of only speak for America, and, our president changes his mind the way most people change socks. So this could be just a one-off thing that we decided.
Natty Cope destroyed her $2. Just wasted 30 minutes debating with a coworker, fat feminist divorced chick. Know the type, who said men's sperm quality declines rapidly, which makes them infertile after age 40. Yeah, that's not true. But women can actually have kids until old age. We've been lied to. Yeah, that's why, didn't Al Pacino just have a kid with his, girlfriend, and he's, 84? Pretty sure Al Pacino's, close to 90, and he just had a kid. So there's a lot of dudes who are 80 or 90 years old who have kids with women who are in their 20s. Women have a biological clock. Men don't. What the fuck? Just bizarre. These people are just the most delusional fucking crazies. Thanks for the donation, Natty Cope Destroyer.
Yo VG, do you still upload to OnlyFans? Your new and improved physique is primed for the OnlyFans gooning culture.
I upload very, very occasionally. I don't really have quite enough privacy right now to do much OnlyFans content, because Isaac's my roommate now. So I don't know if I'm going to do any uploads anytime soon. But I did upload some stuff. Thanks for the donation though, Body IQ.
To do because it came from Venezuela, and we're not going to let them get away. But it certainly could change the dynamics of the situation, but that depends on the home country, every country's how they view the law.
There was a meme about Putin that really caught my attention. When your country humiliates itself on the world stage, but you respond by launching an intercontinental dummy missile and killing civilians. Why do you think the Kremlin chose to use the Oreshnik missile against the Lviv region, despite it having no really military value, especially considering intelligence reports suggesting it may not have even carried a real warhead?
Well, the whole issue with the Oreshnik missile is that it's quote unquote nuclear capable, right? And that's the thing that reporters will, when they read the Wikipedia summary of the Oreshnik missile, they'll see, oh, nuclear capable. Oh, Russia fired a nuclear missile or a nuclear capable missile. And just saying the word nuclear, that kind of increases your clicks, right there, saying, oh, it's a nuclear capable missile. Now, kind of the deal with something like the Oreshnik, and one of the reasons they fire it with ballast, is that, with a weapon system like this, if you fired it with, it's a very expensive way of getting conventional warheads from point A to point B. It's an extremely expensive way of doing that. And if you're going to develop a conventional warhead, you're going to have to create a conventional warhead that can explode moving at essentially Mach 10. So even chemical explosions take time. So you're going to need to manufacture a warhead that might have to explode start the explosion process a kilometer away from its actual target, right? Because even chemical explosions take time. So with something like the Oreshnik, it's easier to fire with ballast, or just concrete warheads, than it is to fire with genuine, honest-to-God explosive warheads, because the amount of money that you would have to invest in developing a warhead, a chemical explosive warhead specific to this missile, is greater than the psychological impact of saying that you fired a nuclear-capable missile. So it's saber-rattling. Every once in a while, Russia likes to let people know that it is a nuclear power, even though nuclear weapons really wouldn't make any kind of difference in Ukraine. It would get Russia just... Well, here's the other funny thing about nuclear weapons. It's China that is essentially keeping Russia on a short leash, because China knows that when they invade Taiwan, the United States using nuclear weapons against their landing forces is a very valid use case for a nuclear weapon. And so if they allow Russia to use even a small tactical nuclear weapon to create some kind of battlefield gain, what that creates is a precedent. Now the cat's out of the bag, right? You can't put that toothpaste back in the tube. And China does not want any precedent for using tactical nuclear weapons, so the United States could use a tactical nuclear weapon against Chinese invasion forces when they invade Taiwan.
The US response to the Oreshnik launch was brief, calling it a dangerous and unclear escalation. In your view, how dangerous is Russia's missile saber rating, particularly with a system designed to carry a nuclear payload for Europe and the broader world?
I wouldn't say it's too dangerous. I mean, they have a limited supply of these things. They're intermediate range nuclear weapons. It's a really expensive way of showing force, and there's a limited supply of these things, and they might not have even developed a warhead for it. It's one of those things it's more of a psychological weapon. It might not feel like that if you're in Ukraine and you have missile warnings waking you up in the middle of the night, but it's more of a psychological tactic than it is an actual military tactic. I mean, look, if nuclear weapons would have been effective in Ukraine, Russia would have used them, especially tactical nuclear weapons. They could have used them during Ukraine's counterattack across the Oskil River. That would have been an ideal
More trend, more men. Donny Tillers. Steve, after 11 years natty versus a few months on 250 milligram tests. Staying natural is a waste of time. After year 5 of natty gains, he looks so much better. Yeah, I saw. Yeah. Yeah, it's retarded. Like, it makes absolutely no sense, dude. And you feel better too, and you're arguably healthier on 250 test. Like, it's just out of this world fucking stupid. I think once you got a good base, like, I would encourage people to, like, at least try to bench 315. But this is after 2 months of only being on 210 milligrams test. So I put on 20 pounds of fucking muscle mass. Like, why would I try to eke out more natural gains? Like, again, realistically, I can only expect, like, under ideal circumstances, to gain 2 or 3 pounds of muscle a year as a natural. So if I would train for another 10 years under ideal circumstances, I could have maybe put on roughly the same amount of muscle mass as I did in 2 months. Like, why would you do that? And again, that's under ideal circumstances where you don't get injured, you don't have any, like, other weird life circumstances that get in the way. You're able to train consistently. You don't have any health problems that pop up, like, you know, in, like, car accidents, infections, sickness, you know, COVID. So it's just retarded. Like, it's so fucking dumb, dude. But yeah, thanks for the donation. More trend, more men.
Place to use a tactical nuclear weapon because it would have stopped that advance just like that. They could have used it 2-3 years ago when they still had forces that could exploit a breakthrough, because it is a standard Russian tactic and honestly a standard Cold War U.S. tactic to use a tactical nuclear weapon to create a breach, and then you run those forces through that breach. You know, if you're in a mechanized unit and you're inside of a vehicle, you are protected from radioactive fallout. And there's ways of exploding a nuclear weapon so it doesn't create a lot of radioactive dust, a lot of radioactive fallout. So using a tactical nuclear weapon at a breach point or to stop an advance is a valid use case. And if Russia had thought it would be effective, they probably could have used it. And they've chosen not to. Too much credence into their nuclear saber rattling.
And now, quick blitz. Fast questions, fast answers. What's your favorite movie or movies?
It's my favorite movie. I was thinking about that just yesterday. Probably Die Hard.
Die Hard's
but
great.
Unforgiven is a close second.
Yeah. Do you prefer daytime or nighttime?
I get a lot of my work done at night.
Yeah. How long ago did you start smoking cigars, and which cigar do you prefer?
You know, that's kind of like asking a parent who's their favorite kid. I guess I started smoking cigars probably about 30 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. I used to smoke cigarettes, and I actually don't remember why I stopped.
I've never gotten diarrhea from Retta, but I was on a pretty low dose. For the first month, I was only on 2 milligrams, and then I dropped it down to 1 milligram. So, might change depending on the dose, and it might also change depending on the duration. So if you're on the drug for long enough, you might end up getting digestive issues, but I've never had any problems with diarrhea, gastric emptying, stuff like that. Everyone responds to the drugs differently. With Retta, like, it's extraordinarily potent for me. If I'm on 2 milligrams, I have zero appetite, and I'll literally just forget to eat all day. If I'm kind of, like, focused on doing stuff, I'll look at the time and it's like 8 p.m. and I haven't eaten anything all day. So it's way too potent of an appetite suppressant for me to, like, take 2 milligrams consistently. 1 milligram, I don't have any appetite suppression, or at least not to a noticeable degree, but it does help prevent me from going hypoglycemic if I'm dieting.
Smoking cigarettes, but I started slowly getting off the cigarettes, and I think like back then I was hanging out with other mid-level other staff NCOs, other staff sergeants, and some of them smoked cigars, and I tried one. I really liked it, and I think that's kind of how I moved forward after that.
And finally,
and my favorite, I don't know, I like Partagas Black Label and Monte Cristo White. Those are good cigars, but Partagas Black Label, which is a really dark Maduro cigar. Actually, I just finished a small one right here. Yeah, that's probably my favorite.
And finally, what's your...
I think smoking is so fucking stupid. There's like oral nicotine. You can just like chew gum or take a lozenge. I don't get it.
favorite book and author?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. I think probably one of my favorite books was by George Orwell, and the book was called Burmese Days. I think that the reason I liked it so much is that it's a very depressing book, but it essentially is a fictional account of George Orwell's time when he was a policeman in India. And it's about a guy who runs a logging company, and he falls in love with an English girl who's sent over to India because she couldn't find a man in England. And the efforts of this one Indian guy who tries to sabotage the relationship. I mean, it's so...
Zins are really fucking stupid. You're supposed to press them against your gums, and they cause gum recession. So you're better off chewing gum or taking a lozenge.
There's an old piece of wisdom that says you can't have guns and butter. I think Lyndon Johnson might have said something like that, or maybe he said you could have guns and butter, but he also picked up basset hounds by their ears and dug us deeper into Vietnam, so maybe don't take any advice from Lyndon Johnson. Oh, by the way, I have a Lyndon Johnson story at the end of this video, so stick around until the end. Now, on the surface level, it kind of seems...
More trend, more men, don't tell others, but Richard, there's not such thing as a natty limit. NHGVS told me so. Well, there is. There's also a steroid limit. Like, you can't infinitely get larger, especially since you get old and die. So, like, there has to be some kind of biological limit to how big you can get with or without steroids, even if you could live infinitely long and you never aged. Like, there has to be some sort of maximum amount of muscle tissue that your body can have, assuming there isn't, like, some sort of weird technological breakthrough where, you know, we have, like, space marine technology where you can have, like, multiple hearts implanted into your body and you'll grow to, like, 10 feet tall and shit like that. So there's a maximum limit to how large you can get, and especially considering you're probably only going to be able to grow muscle until like your peak muscularity is probably going to top out latest conceivably is going to be 55, like latest conceivably. Most men actually achieve peak muscularity by the time they're between 40 and 45. That's where muscularity tends to peak. So assuming like we're talking about the largest, like highest average, which is going to be 45, you're obviously going to be able to put on more muscle by the time you're 45 if you're on steroids. Like that's not debatable. So I don't know why anybody would argue there's a natty limit. There's no natty limit. That makes absolutely no fucking sense. you're going to be able to, like, again, realistically for most people, be able to achieve peak muscularity by 45. And if you're interested in being as muscular as possible, you're going to have to take steroids. So, what do you, like, what are we fucking talking about here? You know, it's just so stupid. Surely they wouldn't sell me a pipe natty fantasy to keep me hooked to their videos coaching services, right? Steroids are dangerous and morally wrong. Basement bodybuilding told me. Basement bodybuilding's... He trains like a fucking pussy. And then, like, every video's titled, I'm getting so jacked. He's not particularly large if you look at some of the best natty lifters. And he's not particularly strong. He still hasn't benched 4 plates. I don't know, like, I'm not even sure if he's gotten far past, like, 315. So, like, look, somebody who can only bench, like, 315, they're not a very large person. They're just not. So, the guy trains like a fucking bitch. He lifts with very light weights, and unsurprisingly, he's not very big. So, yeah, the guy who's natural and not even strong for a natural lifter is not big. So, I don't know why anybody listens to that guy. Like, it's fucking weird. Like, GVS, he has a really impressive physique, and he looks absolutely fucking jacked. Like, I watch his content. He gives good lifting advice. Even for enhanced lifters, like, training is training. Like, Alpha Destiny, he's a short guy, but he looks very muscular and jacked, and he's fucking strong. He's benched 405. So, like, I can understand following those people. I don't know why anybody watches basement bodybuilding. Trains like an absolute fucking pussy. Does not train hard at all. And he's not strong. Like, it's fucking stupid. But, same with natural hypertrophy. The guy is small, not very strong. I don't get it. It's really weird. People just... There's a lot of dumb people who just, I don't know, I guess don't know what's good for them. It's kind of like listening to a Looksmaxer coach, but the Looksmaxing coach is, like, really ugly. I just don't understand it. Or like a dating coach and the guy gets, like, no pussy at all. It's really weird, and these people still have a following somehow. There's just no hope for some people. They're just absolutely fucked. Thanks for the donation, though. More trend, more men. Vivian Gaines, think I'm extremely depressed and am deathly afraid of getting to know a girl and getting into a relationship with them. Well, 2 things about that. You don't need to have any relationship with anybody to be happy. Let me tell you, from personal experience, I don't really want to get into any fucking details because holy fuck, it's been over a year and people won't stop fucking talking about it. I'm just done. I moved on. But if you're gonna rely on women for happiness, you are absolutely fucked. Women are absolute joy killers. Women do not want to see men happy because when men are happy, energetic, productive, they're harder to control. So the more productive you are, the happier you are, the more successful you become, the more likely, like, the more options open up to you, and women know this, and they'll try to prevent you from achieving higher levels of success, and they'll try to make you miserable. They'll try to make you unproductive because that allows them to have more control over you so that you don't leave them for somebody else, or you give them the attention that they're looking for. You'll see, like, here's a example everybody can understand. You'll have like a hobby like video games, right? You'll really like playing some video game like Call of Duty or some racing game, whatever. Why are you playing video games? Those are for dumb children. Oh my God, I can't believe you play video games at this age. Isn't that for like little kids? Or they'll say some bullshit like, you're spending more time on that video game than you're spending with me. They don't want to see you enjoying yourself because, again, anytime you're happy and flourishing and, doing something that you enjoy, that's attention that they're missing out on. So, like, don't ever think that being in a relationship is like the pathway to happiness. It's not. If anything, women will actively prevent you from being happy. Especially these days, like, women are like, there are so many women who have like antisocial personality disorder traits or are full-on psychopaths, and they're very good at hiding it. And it is a minefield getting into a relationship with a woman. You might like, if you would, it happens. You might find a really great girl who actually loves you for who you are and all that, and is really supportive and might uplift you. But for every chick like that, there's like 100 other fucking girls that is like an explosive that is about to go off, and they will try to fucking ruin you. So, don't ever rely on women for happiness, because in all likelihood, you're more likely to step on a fucking mine than find gold. So, happiness is found in acts of will. A lot of people think that happiness is found in like simple pleasures. People usually fall into these like weird traps. A lot of the time, like, people will get addicted to drugs, like alcohol or crystal meth or fentanyl or something. And you'll see this, they'll keep using the drug over and over and over again. And they'll tell you, they're miserable. They don't want to do the drug, but like they feel miserable off the drug. So they like go back to the drug to get that like temporary boost. But it's this never ending cycle, and it's not necessarily drugs. For some people, like their vice or addiction is like junk food. It might be porn, might be like infinitely scrolling through Facebook or something. The reason these weird traps exist where you think like it'll make you happy and you keep going back to it is because people just forget where happiness is found. It's not found in like trivial little pleasures. It's found in acts of will. You have to do things that have a delayed gratification, that require effort and like actual acts of will that you put into, that have some sort of like benefit down the road. So like lifting, the reason why so many people find lifting and like exercising and training and like building muscle and getting stronger so enriching to their lives, there are some like quick benefits to it. Like you do get like dopamine rushes, endorphins, stuff like that, but it's an act of will. You have to put effort into it. It takes like a long period of time to actually see some of those benefits, but you'll see that the effort you put into something, that kind of grueling work, those trials and tribulations, that's where happiness is found in. So lifting is the easiest fucking way to improve your mental health, because it's an act of will, and you just have to force your will onto the world to find that happiness. So do things that are fucking difficult, that have delayed gratifications, that actually require effort to put into, and it can be anything. Wherever your interest lies, just make sure you're enacting your will upon it. So that could be making more money, could be going to school, could be working out, and that's where you're going to find happiness.
Simplistic, almost untrue in our age of wealth and prosperity with 24/7 wars going on, but it is a hard-earned piece of wisdom. You can't have guns and butter. You can't have all the nice things and run costly wars. There's give and there's take. And the reality...
Playing too much video games is goy slop. Having a family and children is part of life, happiness, and keep your genes alive. Congratulations, you're banned.
...is that wars are more
Fucking
costly,
retard.
and this cost is not shouldered by the government alone. The news from Russia kind of keeps rolling in here. The Russians are starting to understand that you can't have guns and vodka, at least not without some serious consequences. The Russian economy appears to be contracting, growth slowing down after seemingly unprecedented growth from the war in Ukraine. Right now, the Russians are experiencing officially 10% inflation, which is high, but not as high as it could be. The Russians are experiencing a labor market unlike they've ever seen. Blue-collar workers are getting massive pay rates and increases, which could make demobilization painful for soldiers and working-class people alike. Add into this the Russian oil woes that I talked about in a different video, and you have this collapse of an economic house of cards. Does it mean that the Russians are on the verge of a Soviet-style collapse? Is this the end of Russia? Maybe, maybe not. Most likely not. But things will get harder. Before we delve into this topic, let me talk about how I did my research for this in Ground News. I'm shooting this on Monday, November 17th, and the Epstein files are all over the news. What's great about Ground News, though, is that it shows me stories I may have missed. It cuts through the plan I use every day. Russia's economic woes are just getting started. These problems could spell disaster for the Russian military and even the peace process. Russia, for all its faults, has managed to hang on by a thread. They found ways to sell their oil, even if it's killing their revenue stream. They found ways around international sanctions through third country sanction evasions. As an aside here, third country sanction evasions allow the Russians to find interesting ways of buying Western goods, especially those they cannot directly import, through third party country imports. That's why Russians can still buy Coca-Cola and other luxuries without incurring additional costs that come from international sanctions placed on Russia proper. Same process works for consumer electronics, similar technologies.
Jesus, why does it do that?
That can be placed into military hardware. The Russians have also worked diligently to counter international sanctions by kind of cozying up to China, whose non-interference policy suggests that the Ukraine war is a matter between Russia and Ukraine, or Ukraine, Russia, North Korea, and even Iran too. If you notice something here, you might find out that Russia's so-called friends, or allies at the moment, are countries like China, a communist-leaning authoritarian regime, and Iran, a modern-day theocracy, and North Korea, the original OG pariah on the world stage. However, the Russians have found, unlike...
I had a girl in my bed the other night, but she was on her period, so didn't have sex. Is it safe to have unprotected sex while they're menstruating? Seems gross to mix blood and cum. Would you?
Well, you can get them pregnant, if that's what you mean. I fucked girls on their period. I don't fucking care. I'm not grossed out by blood, so, you know. You could get STDs. I'm sure the risk of, like, HIV is higher, like HIV infection, just because of fluid transfer. But as far as whether or not it's a risk to get them pregnant, yeah, it's absolutely a risk. Thanks for the donation, Gummy Gum. Unicorn Jizz, donate $3. Let me see.
Take him down.
No fucking way, dude.
Predator missile ready for deployment. Watch out. Predator missile inbound. C-130 ready for deployment.
Oh fuck.
Friendly AC-130 in the air.
I'd be mad. Yeah, I'd be mad.
Gun ready! Yeah, direct hits right there.
Dude, that's horrendous. Oh yeah, I saw that. That was fucking hilarious. That was so funny they didn't see him. Yeah, I think he actually got away, but they ended up finding him later. Yeah, that was funny. Alright, this is gonna be stupid.
This is not a political argument. This is not an immigration debate. This is not.
This is a political argument. Anybody with eyes can see that was an unjustified shooting. So he's doing this because he supports ICE and the ICE deportations and the Trump administration. That's the only fucking reason he'd say the shooting's justified. Ask him about the woman who got shot on January 6th and watch his tune completely change. So there's a police shooting where a woman broke through a fucking police barrier, charged at the fucking cops, was throwing shit at them, along with a bunch of other fucking people who were charging at the police. She ended up getting shot. These same fucking Trump fucktards will say, oh, unjustified police shooting. Oh, the police are murdering people. This is while they're trying to overthrow the fucking Capitol. But a fucking mother of three who was protesting ICE, which, by the way, is a right as an American citizen. You can protest the police. You can protest federal agencies. They shot her because she was protesting. That's it. That's the only fucking reason they shot her. ICE has horrible fucking training. These people are literally given like a week course. I'm not even making this up. Like South Park literally was real on this. They massively increased budgetary funding for ICE. They were trying to hire as many people as quickly as possible. They gave them a course that lasted about a week, and it literally involved them just watching like a fucking video seminar. And then they give these people guns with little training. This guy shouldn't have been standing in front of the car to begin with. That was just stupid. He started shooting at her after he was out of the way of the fucking vehicle. And she clearly wasn't trying to run him over. Why did she back up? The guy was already in front of the car. If she was trying to kill him, why did she back up? She was just trying to fucking leave. So this, like, in no way was this a justified shooting. If they thought her being there to protest ICE was in some way a violation of the law, then they could have just taken her license plate, arrested her later. They had video footage of the whole incident so they could identify her easily. Or they could engage in a police pursuit. But no, this guy just didn't like the fact that she was protesting and just shot her.
Not about whether you like ICE or hate ICE. What I want to talk about is something that's much narrower, much more uncomfortable, and much harder to avoid. Was this self-defense? Because
it was not self-defense. He was literally out of the way of the car when he started shooting.
Once you strip everything else away, the outrage, the slogans, the ideology, that's the only question that actually matters. Before we even get to the shooting, we have to deal with something people keep intentionally blurring. This woman was not passively protesting. She was not peacefully demonstrating. She was not exercising her.
She was peacefully protesting. She was literally just in the way with her car. That is peaceful. Being in the way of something is considered peaceful.
First Amendment right from the sidewalk. She was actively interfering with the federal operator.
Yes, interfering with a federal officer is a form of peaceful protest. You can interfere and it be peaceful. If you're just standing there, that is peaceful. You're not committing a volitional act where you're actually attacking somebody. So if this guy is going to say, it's an act of violence to stand in the way of something, then I guess the Chinese government was justified in killing fucking their own citizens during the Tiananmen Square massacre. So all the people who are protesting at Tiananmen Square just standing there, blocking tanks, well, all those people who got shot, well, oh, they're committing violence, right? They're standing in the way of a tank. Like this is fucking retarded. He literally just justified the Tiananmen Square massacre.
At the moment she began blocking them, at that moment she refused lawful command to move. She crossed from protected activity into...
She was leaving! So, I'm sorry, you said she's blocking a federal investigation or something. She was asked to leave, and then she was leaving, and then she got shot while leaving, which was what they wanted her to do in the first place? Does this make any fucking sense?
The illegal conduct. That's not a value judgment. That's just the reality of how the law works. Now, I want to be careful here because this is where people tend to think I'm being...
Okay, so according to him, if the police shot everybody at the January 6th riot, that would have been legal. They're interfering with an official proceeding, which is unlawful. So the police should have gunned down every single one of the January 6th protesters. Do you think he would ever fucking hold that position? Ever? He's full of shit.
Dismissive or cold. I'm not. I'm actually willing to give her the benefit of the doubt. I'm not assuming she was evil. I'm not assuming she wanted to hurt anyone. I'm not assuming she woke up that day intending to kill a cop. What I am inclined to believe is something much more human. She was stressed. She was overwhelmed. She did not want to be arrested. Anyone who's ever been in a high-stress confrontation understands this. When adrenaline spikes, your thinking narrows. You don't calmly analyze options. You don't weigh consequences. Your brain locks onto one directive. And hers, get out of here. And that's probably what was happening. She hops into her vehicle, she starts it, and she steps on the accelerator.
He's lying. He's literally lying, deliberately, knowingly and willingly lying. And he started this video off saying, this isn't a political opinion. Clearly it is. He's lying. He's knowingly and deliberately lying. She didn't just step on the fucking accelerator. She backed up, trying to avoid the fucking cop in front of her. She turned her fucking tires, trying to get away and avoid the guy. She slowly moved fucking forward, and then the guy fucking shot her. He's full of shit. He's lying about what happened.
Not slowly, not cautiously, not in a way that says, hey.
He literally just showed the video. Literally right at the beginning. And now he's lying about it.
Let me ease forward. She floors it. Now.
She did not floor it. He literally just showed the video at the beginning. Backs up, slowly moves forward. You call that flooring it? Are you fucking kidding me? So yeah, this guy is a partisan hack.
Whelmed. She didn't. You don't weigh consequences. And this is important. That does not mean she was thinking, I'm going to run this officer over. I'm actually not inclined to believe that. What I think is far more likely is that she was frantic. Her mind was ahead of her body. Her adrenaline was doing what adrenaline does. She wasn't thinking.
I love how he's lying about what she did, and he's ignoring that the cop literally was not in harm's way. He was out of the way of the vehicle when he started shooting. So how is that self-defense? Like, if I were, oh my God, like, what would be a good example? If I threw a rock at somebody and the rock missed, and then I literally ran in the opposite direction, and then the person that I threw the rock at shot me in the back, you can't call that self-defense at that point. Like, that's literally what happened. If you were going to claim self-defense, the person would have to have the rock, like, cocked back, ready to fucking throw, then you pull out your gun and shoot while they're trying to throw it at you. If the rock was already thrown and it missed, and the person took off running in the opposite direction, and then you shoot them in the back, that's just murder. That's what he did. If there was a like some sort of risk that he could get run over, he doesn't have that fucking argument anymore if he's out of the way of the fucking vehicle, you idiot.
Thinking about throttle pressure or traction or who was standing exactly where. She just wanted to leave, and I understand that. But here's the hard truth that people don't like. Intent does not always control self-defense.
So again, he's lying by omission. He's not mentioning that the cop was not in front of the vehicle.
Defense analysis.
Like, by the way, what a bootlicking fucking faggot. Like, seriously? We have fucking people who are trying to defend federal agents that have fucking federal immunity murdering fucking civilians? Like what? When, like, especially fucking Republicans who are like pro 2A rights, who have always been like, oh, we got to be afraid of big government. Police and like the powers that be have too much control over us. Now these same fucking people are trying to defend federal agents and arguing that they should just be able to murder people. Like it just bootlicking fucking gay retards.
Actions do. And her actions, regardless of what she meant internally, communicated something very specific to everyone around her. They communicated urgency. They communicated disregard for obstacles. They communicated...
Okay, buddy, if you're afraid of a fucking white woman who, like again, this is a mother of 3 fucking children. The body cam footage was also released. This woman was not, like, acting crazy or agitated or anything. She wasn't screaming, acting unhinged. She was literally just being calm, collected, smiling at them, not, like, doing anything that could perceive her as a threat. And this guy is like, they were scared. They were worried for their lives. Like, you're all fucking pussies. All of you. You're a fucking pussy because you're a bootlicking fucking coward who's trying to defend federal fucking agents to give them the ability to fucking murder civilians without any, like, with impunity. And these fucking ICE officers are fucking cowards because they think they're doing something fucking heroic and justified by murdering a fucking woman with 3 children who are just there protesting. Like, which is an American right to do. You're allowed to fucking protest. Like, it's like all these people are just fucking pathetic loser cowards.
I'm leaving and I'm not stopping. Now, put yourself in the officer's...
Oh my god. You want to debate this, Vince? I can open up Discord. This is gonna be fucking retarded. Like, if you actually want to debate me, fine, but, like, oh my god, if you're actually taking the position that the ICE agent was justified, like, I don't know what argument you could possibly fucking make. Like, actually retarded. I'd love to hear it, though. I'm on Discord, you can call me. But, like, dear God, this is going to be fucking stupid.
Position. It's snowing. There's ice on the ground. Traction is compromised. You're standing directly in front of a vehicle. You hear the engine.
He's not standing directly in front of the vehicle when he starts shooting.
You hear the tire spin. The vehicle starts moving. You do not...
The ICE agent was terrified of the fucking little woman behind her car trying to leave. Well, maybe he shouldn't have stood in front of the car in the first place. And I don't know what justification you have for him when he's literally out of the way of the vehicle when he starts shooting. So get fucked. So you're telling me this guy is justified in murdering somebody because he's a scared little bitch? Afraid of some fucking white mother in a suburb?
Get time to psychoanalyze her mindset. You don't get to pause and say, well, maybe she's just panicking. Because if you're wrong, you're dead. And this is the part that...
No, you're not dead. He was out of the way of the vehicle, you fucking idiot.
People refuse to confront honestly. Even if she didn't want to hurt him. Even if she just wanted to escape. If he sides...
This guy is a partisan hack. Just an absolute bootlicking fucking retard. Like, what a dumb bitch. Like, actual dumb bitch. I totally lost respect for Colin Noir. He literally lied about every single fucking aspect of that shooting. And he's just clearly a partisan hack. Top Gooner donated $2. How to deal with your how to deal with your sex drive on gear? Are you hooking up with Half the girls in your town are what? Also, thoughts on Mike Adriano. Is that the porn star? I don't care. Jerk off more. I had a really ridiculously high sex drive when I first hopped on. And it normalized after a couple months, but yeah, just jerk off more. Thanks for the donation, Top Gooner.
Holy shit nigga, that's the worst straw man argument I've ever heard. That white bitch was actively obstructing a lawful operation and then was told to get out the vehicle. She ignored orders and backed up and ran her vehicle into the officer, then got shot.
That's great. I know you're a fucking troll, so shut up. Kid be doing tellers, nigga, you lying. What is this stupid shit?
Oh, what was that? You needed slowed down? Please hold.
Here's the officer. Here's the vehicle reversing. The officer is not in front of the vehicle. She reverses, and now he is in front of the vehicle.
He wasn't. Oh my. They're lying again. He was. You can look at the body cam footage that was released and the other angles. He was in front of the vehicle before she reversed. He just moved.
Vehicle. He initially is to the right of the vehicle.
Oh my god, dude. This is just retarded.
By all means argue he should not have placed himself in this position. We're talking about
So, by the way, this is another aspect of self-defense. You don't get to argue self-defense if you deliberately put yourself in a position where you have to shoot somebody.
Now watch this. The vehicle stops here. The wheel...
Yeah, notice how she turned the wheels away from the guy?
Wheels are pointed left. As you can see, the officer is standing right in front of the vehicle. Now watch this. Right there. You see the front tire?
Oh
watch
God.
the front tire right.
Yeah, again, bootlicking retard. I love how these fucking bootlickers are like, federal agents should be able to murder people because they got us scared. Uh-huh. What's your Discord handle again? I don't know why Discord's stupid. Yeah, what's your Discord handle? Just call me on Discord. I don't know when the last time I called you was. It's really fucking annoying that you have to remember somebody's, like, Discord name. When was the last time I messaged you? There we go. Oh, wait, I found you. Wait, yeah.
Hey, cousin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What up? Yeah, okay. Can you hear me? Said he... No, my... Hello?
Yo, cuz, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What up? Give me 1 second. I can turn on my camera. There we go. What up? I was...
Damn thing ain't working.
I can hear you, Vince.
Shit. Fucking piece of shit machine. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right, good. Okay. So,
first off, I'm going to explain two things to you here. Both of them were dumbasses here. Okay? Shooting was justified, but with that being said, the officer was also a dumbass here. And I'm going to explain why. Number one, just as you mentioned, he's in front of the car. And which is one place that you should never be, in front of someone's car, especially since in June he already got ran over by a car for standing in front of a car. He should have already been reprimanded for that. Now, with that being said, that woman listened to her wife. If you hear on the other main video, she says, "Go, baby, go," meaning to take off there. And when you have an officer and has a vehicle coming right forward to you, you only have 2 seconds to decide to think what to do. Okay? Now, he could have moved out of the way.
He did.
Or he could have shot her in order to keep her from running him over there. Okay? He put himself in the position, but at the same time, she had no reason to try to take off there. Because, when you have a vehicle coming at you, you got 2 seconds to decide. You don't have time to look down and see where the wheels are turning and everything like that.
He moved out
Everybody
of the way.
has been analyzing that for days. Literally for days.
Look, Vince.
Whereas this person only had 2 seconds here. It's just in my case, justified. But then again, he shouldn't have put himself in there to begin with there.
He did, in fact, move out of the way. And he only started shooting when he was next to the vehicle, already safe. And there was no risk of her running him over.
No, if he was on the side, then the bullet would have came into the side there. When he shot the gun there, if you take a look at the top video, there's no way that a bullet can go through the front window, if he's standing on the side.
Yes,
That's
you
impossible.
can.
Do
I need to show you?
Did you see the second angle where the cop was directly filming in front?
Oh my!
Because you're seeing the back. You're seeing the back angle. Did you see the actual body cam of that officer?
Okay.
Go ahead and
I'll
look.
show you in Photoshop.
Okay.
Give me a second. I'll share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just do a
This
quick
stupid
doodle.
Discord ain't working too well. This thing's
I'll do a quick Google in Photoshop.
Is yours working
okay?
fine?
Yeah, mine's working fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say this is the car. All right. So say that's the windshield with the pillar at the front. All right. So the car is moving in this direction. And here's the officer. He can shoot into the windshield while being out of the way.
No, that guy shot, but there was another person in front, though. That's why I wanted you to look at the other.
Yes, he was here, and then he moved here. This is starting to look like a penis. But he was here. He moved to the side, and then he opened fire when he was out of the way.
Cousin, I'm not talking about that guy. There's another guy up top there. I tell you what. Have you seen the front end video from the body cam from the officer from where the lady almost tried to run him over?
I've seen all of it. I've seen the 3 angles from people filming and the body cam footage. You can see in the body cam footage he started shooting when he was out of the way.
Okay, I'm not talking about the camera angle. I want you to count the time between when the vehicle began and when it was about to hit him. Or actually, it did actually hit him. You're counting less than 2 seconds. So you have literally less than 2 seconds here. It's what's called a gut reaction there. Okay?
I don't think
that's why he's not going to be. That's why he's not going to be charged there.
That wasn't a gut reaction.
But at the same time, he shouldn't even been there to begin with. he should not have been standing in front of the car. He's already got hit back in June.
Wait,
It's just a matter of, and I hate to say this, but it's just a matter of two idiots meeting each other, and when two idiots meet each other, you know, you end up with shit like this.
And then Ryan,
In fact, he shouldn't have never. The minute he already got hit by a vehicle, he should have been reprimanded. He should have been on desk duty. He should not have been out there to begin with. Now, I'll say that right now. And she should not have even driven, knowing the risk that someone could actually put a bullet through, you know, literally speaking. He could have moved out of the way, but he chose instead to shoot her.
Okay, so
which while it makes it's a dumb idea, but in the eyes of the law, it does make it justified because he has a reasonable I guess a reasonable means to where his life is being threatened.
No,
it doesn't matter.
So
it doesn't matter if he's an idiot for standing in
so
front.
let's watch the video here.
No, I want to see the front video.
That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning. Just so you
So
know,
wait.
it'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former. You want to come at us? You want to come at us?
So this was the
this.
I think this was the one ICE officer who was using his cell phone to record, or is it where this was the body cam? Yeah, this was the body cam, I think. Might have been a cell phone or a body cam. I can't. Okay, let me see if I can find the other angle.
I think it's a body cam.
Yeah. ICE shooting. All angles. Let me see if I can just find. So this is the surveillance footage.
Ben, I'm not really justifying anything. It's just two idiots meeting each other. That's it.
So there he is in front of the car.
I can't see the video.
Oh, you can't see the video?
Yeah, it got me screenshot.
Wait, So he was in front of the car here.
Yeah.
So
like
you can see where he popped off. Right there.
Right.
He's literally next to the vehicle. He's not even in the way. So there's the muzzle flash. He's out of the way.
Right, in 2 seconds. And how far was he there and the time it took for her to come up? That's like almost 2 seconds here. Like I said, you have one end where the lady shouldn't have been trying to block the road to begin with there. She intentionally blocked the road to start a confrontation. She's been going to meetings. They even got a little pamphlet to how to, basically resist and agitate and mess with, police, not just ICE, but also police officers. So long before ICE was there, she was up there harassing police officers here. Like I said,
okay, look,
which is a really bad idea. And when it comes to things like this here, cousin, my whole point is that sometimes in life, when you go and make a fool of yourself there, you actually have unintended consequences. Most people, including myself, if I was in that position of the officer, first off, I wouldn't even be standing there. And two, I would just let her drive off there.
Okay, so
but eventually you're going to always run into a dumbass that is going to shoot into the vehicle there.
So you agree he started shooting when he was out of the way of the vehicle.
No, he was still in the way of the vehicle there. It makes it justified.
You literally
saw being an idiot driving there.
You literally saw him beside the vehicle out of the way when the muzzle flash went off.
Yeah, because he moved. It took 2 seconds for him to move out of the way.
Right, so he was out of the way. So he was out of the way when he started shooting. You agree with that fact?
Okay. No, because in the eyes of the law, it's a justified shooting.
Okay, that has nothing to do with it being justified. I'm just asking if you can agree with the fact he was out of the way when the first shot was fired. You can say it's still justified. So he was out of the way when the first shot was fired.
Yeah, he already shot.
Okay.
He already fired. He already killed her long before he got out of the way.
Okay, was he in the way or not when the first shot was fired?
There was a total of 3 shots. There was a total of 3 shots in all. The one in the front, and then he moved to the side, and then he, for some odd, strange reason, he shot
it's almost
2
as
more
if he wanted to kill her. So if this is self-defense,
he was wanting to kill her.
Yeah, so if this was
He
self-defense,
wanted to
why
kill
would
her.
he keep shooting if he's next to the vehicle?
I didn't say nothing about self-defense. I'm just letting you know, in the eyes of the law, they call that justified. But honestly, I wouldn't even have had him out there to begin with.
Okay, so
because he's already, simply for the fact that he's already been run over by another vehicle, and that's probably where that whole thing comes from. The reason why he shot, because here he goes, he's going to get run over again. Like I said before, when you do foolish things, you have unintended consequences. She had no reason to go drive up
Vince,
in front of that officer.
I just want to resolve this one fact. Was he out of the way when the first shot was fired? He might have been pulling out his gun.
He was still in the way.
We literally just showed.
He shot the first time, and then he shot around the side of the window.
Yes, and when the first shot was fired, he was still sort of in front of the vehicle, but he was out of the way.
He's still... Okay, cousin?
He wasn't directly next to the vehicle.
He was not completely...
It was to the side.
He was not completely out of the way. He was halfway out of the way.
He was completely out of the way. We literally saw where the muzzle flash was.
This is a matter of 2 seconds here. Like I said before, everyone's been analyzing this for days.
Yes, I know. We
that
can
guy
grant...
only had maybe 2 seconds to think about it there. Now, he could have fully moved out of the way without shooting, but he shot.
Okay, we're not right now,
brother. Hey, let me finish.
You're changing the topic. We're not like we can grant that right now.
You said that it wasn't justified, and I'm saying it was justified. I'm not debating the fact that he was an idiot for shooting.
We need to resolve this disagreement of whether or not he was in the way when the first shot was fired. I literally just showed the footage where you can see, luckily, because of the vertical sync of the camera, you can see where the first muzzle flash was popped off.
It appeared that he was still in the way, though.
He was clearly out of the way. You could see the entire front of the vehicle, and he was to the side.
Right.
So he was not in the way.
He was still shooting. He was in front of the vehicle when that thing started going. Okay, let me add.
You can see the direction of the car. And you can see that he was...
Cousin. All right, so let's put this aside. Before any bullets got popped off there, was he in front of the vehicle when she decided to take off?
Yes.
There
when
you
the
go.
car was moving, he was in front.
The minute... Okay, cousin, U.S. law, the minute that she went and peeled off, put her foot on the gas pedal, and lurched in front of that officer, U.S. law makes it justified. Now, I hate to tell you this,
we can debate that.
My debate is only about justification there. Now, with that, most normal people like myself,
there's multiple aspects to this. So, again, there's multiple aspects to that. It's not so simple. So, can we agree? So, let's hear. We agree. He was in front of the vehicle when she started moving forward. Now, she wasn't moving forward very fast. It wasn't like she just gunned it. You could see the vehicle first slowly moved forward, then it sped up. Now, he was in front of the vehicle when it first started moving forward. He jumped to the side, and when the first shot was fired, he was clearly out of the way. Now, you could argue... Wait. You could argue, okay, it's a split-second decision, tensions are high, he might not have, hindsight's 20/20, he might have not been thinking totally clearly, but can we agree with the fact that he was in fact out of the way of the vehicle when the first shot was fired.
He was out of the way with the second shot, not with the first shot. And not only that,
okay. We
he was
literally
not
just saw the
okay.
footage.
She was not moving slow. She had just started the accelerator. I mean, a vehicle goes from 0 on up there, so it had not moved far enough to where it could accelerate. Now, here's the thing: once he shot her, you saw how fast that vehicle accelerated. Well, I mean, on the other hand, she was already dead, so her foot was probably on the gas pedal anyway. But it's like I said, the shooting was justified, but both of them were idiots. The responsibility still falls upon, the officer number one or whoever his supervisor is. He should have never even been out there to begin with there. But at this point in time, here we are. She wanted an altercation. She got it. She went and listened to her wife saying, "Go baby, go." That's why her wife was up there getting on the news and saying it was my fault. But I mean, like I said before, just because something's justified doesn't make it right. I didn't say at any point in time that what he did was right, but in terms of justified, that's U.S. law, and that's U.S. law. I don't make the rules on what laws are in place. There's plenty of laws right now that are going on, transgender rights that are just literally screwing people, but you can't do anything about it there. My whole point and contention is it's just two idiots meeting each other. And when two idiots meet each other, shit happens. She shouldn't have accelerated. He shouldn't have been out there. He should have just simply moved out of the way without the gunshots here. But U.S. law says that it's justified, though. And both of them, she's raised $1.5 million. I think he's raised now $750,000, and it's actually going up. He'll probably, it looks like some people will be millionaires, and the lady's probably going to be on a fucking mural with George Floyd or something.
Give me a second. I'm trying to find. Oh my god, this fucking cat. I'm trying to. For some reason, it looks like the third angle from the one side was scrubbed.
But I mean, I'm not saying, I do somewhat see your point there. I mean, the other two shots were completely unnecessary from the side because he already done hit her in the head the first shot, though. But then again, he could have just moved out of the way.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm trying to find the third angle. Okay. This should... Okay, you see this?
Give me a screenshot.
What do you mean a screenshot? Can you see the video?
Can't see anything.
Okay, let me try.
I told you this Discord thing doesn't work right these days. That's why I stopped using it. Nah.
Well, I can't show a screenshot because you need to see the video.
Okay, give me I tell you what, here's what I'll do. Let me...
Okay, I'll link you.
You're looking at the body cam picture, right?
No.
Okay.
I'll link you the
got
video
it right
on
here.
Discord if you can't see it.
Alright.
Literally, first shot, you can see where the gun goes off.
Not that, that's not the one I'm talking about.
Well, you can see where the
angle.
first shot goes off.
That's
So-
not the angle that I'm talking.
It doesn't matter.
I'm talking about.
It doesn't matter. Because you can see the
It's
guy's
not-
out of the way. So
That's not the guy.
you inch forward.
There's another guy right above him. I'm not talking about this guy. There's another guy there.
We're talking about the shooter. So that's where the first shot popped
this
off.
isn't this cousin. This isn't the guy. Watch.
What do you
Watch
mean
what
this isn't the
happens.
guy? You can see him shoot. That was the shooter.
No, there's another See that? There's another. I'll tell you what. Here's what I'll do. Give me just a minute. Hold on. Because you got the wrong angle. You got the wrong angle.
Are we talking about the shooter?
Yeah, we're talking about it. Hold on. I got you.
Well, he's right there.
I got you here. Hold on. I want you to get the officer's perspective. That's what I want you to see specifically.
You can literally see that was the first shot.
It on my live I played it
and
on my live
he's literally next to the car.
I got it right here. Hold on. Let me make sure that this one's it.
Just link it in the Discord chat so I can bring it up on my stream.
Yep, this one's it. Hold on. I'm going to share this with you here. Maybe that doesn't work. Hold on. I got it. This piece of shit. Okay. There we go. That angle. Now check that one out.
Brand new cell phone video. We've obtained the video. The video is
that right there is the money shot.
We don't change our plates every morning. It'll be the same.
We already saw this one.
Go play it again.
You want to come at us?
And you'll see my point
get
there.
Yourself some lunch, big boy.
Because that's the main.
This was the shooter.
I saw that one there first. I wanted to see the perspective there. Trust me, this one, and it's right at the very end.
Well,
so
this was
go
the
ahead
shooter.
And play that one. This was the shooter. But I want you to play in real time this video, and you'll see where I'm getting at, though. As far as why U.S. law makes that a justified shooting.
Okay, Vince, you keep changing the subject. We're arguing about whether or not, when the first shot was fired, if he was out of the way. That's all we're arguing about right now. It's not about whether or not the shooting. We're not arguing whether or not, based on the totality of evidence, the shooting was justified. We're arguing the one fact of the case. Can we agree that he was out of the way when the first shot was fired? I did, and we already played it.
You haven't played that. Play it again.
I literally just played it.
I don't want you to look at the angle. I want you to count the amount of time that he had to decide what to do when that car
We're not arguing about the totality of evidence, whether or not the shooting was justified.
Okay. I tell you what, I'll give you...
You keep changing the subject. All I want to settle right now is, was he out of the way of the car when the first shot was fired?
Okay, let me give you a hypothetical. You're standing in front of a car, and a car lurches in front of you.
You keep changing the subject. No, you're changing the subject again. It's a yes or no question. So
no, it's not a yes or no question.
It is a yes or no question. It's the one detail.
Because I want you to answer this question. If you're standing in front of a car and it lurches at you, would it be reasonable enough to think possibly that that car might hit you? Yes or no?
That's not what we're arguing right now.
Yes or no?
You're not answering my questions. Why the fuck would I answer yours?
Okay, if your friend was in a car, you're standing in front, he accidentally hits the gas pedal, would it stand to be in reason, regardless as far as to how far it moves, that you might get hit with his car? Would you not jump back?
Vince, you keep dodging the question. I'm not answering any of your fucking questions until you answer mine. Can we agree that when the first shot was fired, he was out of the way of the vehicle? I just gave you a screenshot. I just gave you a screenshot. You can literally see where his feet are in relation to the car. That's where the first shot was fired.
That's the wrong person.
That's the shooter. Are you insane?
But I'm talking about the person in front of him. So take a look at the vehicle.
Have you been drinking tonight?
Oh, good God Almighty! She was about to hit a person.
Vince, how much have you drunk tonight?
Excuse me? I'm not drunk anything today.
Oh, are you fucking sure?
Nothing.
What have you been smoking?
Is this cheer wine?
What have you been smoking?
Is this cheer wine? Huh?
What have you been
I'm not
smoking?
smoking weed. A cigar, like I normally do. Hold on.
Dude, I literally gave you the screenshot. The shooter is right next to the fucking car when the first shot was fired. I'm not talking about the guy in the foreground. I'm talking about the guy in front of him.
2 freaking seconds here. Okay?
You're changing the topic again. You're changing the topic again. You're changing the topic again. We need to settle. We need to settle this
You're arguing
detail.
symmetrics that he was out of the way, and I'm arguing the fact that he had 2 seconds to decide.
That's fine. That's fine. You can argue that.
He was going to get hit by
That's
the vehicle.
fine. You can argue that. That we can grant that. We can even grant it. All I want to know is if we can agree.
I'm not arguing.
Can we agree when the first shot was fired, he was out of the way?
He was not out of the way. I don't agree.
I literally gave you the screenshot where he was.
There was, in fact, there's 2 people standing there.
Please show me
Okay.
how in the fucking screenshot you can see both of his feet to the left of the vehicle. How the fuck was he not out of the way?
There's 2 people. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do.
The one guy in the foreground is right next to the car. He's trying to grab the door handle.
I'm gonna go ahead and play this here for you. Hold on. Let me.
The video you sent me has a body cam where it got knocked out of the way, so it shows nothing.
It shows it there, okay? And this is the point that I'm trying to make there. I didn't say it was a smart idea. I just said it was by U.S. law, it's justified. Justified doesn't mean he made the right
We're not
decision
arguing
there.
that right now. We're arguing whether or not.
All right. We'll
so
just
you
agree
disagree. So you disagree that he was not out of the way when the first shot was fired.
I disagree that he was
okay.
not out
Well,
of the way
then
with the
you're
first shot.
insane.
About the second
Then I'm
and third
sorry.
shot.
You're insane.
If he was out of the way, how in the world is he supposed? How in the world did a bullet hole?
I
end up
literally
in front
showed
of the
you how
window?
that's
If he was
possible.
on the side,
I
if he was on
literally
the
showed
side,
you
that
how
means
that's
he would
possible.
have had to curve around in order to shoot the window.
Well, by the
There
way,
is
if
a
you look at the
front
screenshot, I
There
sent
is
you,
a front
he kind of it looks
face.
like he did that.
There is a front face in front of the window. And you're forgetting one other thing, okay? You're forgetting one last thing. A fucking headlight, the fucking side mirror as well. You're forgetting all about
Vince.
that.
Okay, Vince. I'm directly in front of my camera, right?
But you're not even gonna play
I'm
the
directly
video
in
that
front of
I
my
just-
camera, right? My camera's pointing at me.
Yes, your camera's pointed at you.
Watch this. I'm out of the way of my camera now, right?
How long did it take you to go
I'm
out
out of the way of the camera, right? I'm to the right of my camera.
Okay.
I'm to the right of my camera, right?
Okay. The whole point
I'm to the right of my
it's
camera,
nothing.
right?
You're out of the way of the camera.
So if the camera was coming straight forward, it would miss me. Correct?
Yes, it would miss you.
Okay. This is a BB gun. It's not a real gun. If I were to point like this,
put that away.
is the gun aimed directly at the camera?
Why in the world
Is
would
the
he
gun
lean in
aimed
front of the
directly at the
vehicle? That
camera?
means his head is still in front.
Is the gun aimed directly at the camera?
Cuz, will you put that gun away before? It doesn't matter if it's
Is
a
it
BB
aimed
gun. You're
at
going to
the
get a
camera?
community strike. Dude.
Is it aimed at the camera?
Cuz, you're going to get a community strike if you do that. Put the gun away. Dude.
Is the gun aimed? It's a BB gun. Is the gun aimed at the camera?
Cuz, you know the trolls are going to go. Will you just put it away?
The camera would
Okay,
miss me if it came straight forward, but I'd still be able to shoot the camera from this angle, right?
Doing that shit, man. You're gonna get a community strike. You know good and well those trolls will go and report you saying you got a gun despite saying a BB gun. All right, jeez.
Well, you can show a gun
I guess
on,
I'm just gonna have
even
to
if it
agree to
were real, you
disagree
can
on
show a
this,
gun
okay?
on YouTube. But anyway,
all right, I'm okay. We'll just have to
So
agree
even
to
if
disagree. But would you at least agree with me that she did not make a good decision?
Well,
She
sure.
did not make a smart decision.
Sure, it wasn't a
in
smart
driving
decision. Well, here's another aspect of this. You mentioned the guy was in front of a car and got hit beforehand, a few months earlier in another case.
He got hit in June.
Yeah. So this is another aspect if you're going to try to argue self-defense. It
didn't argue
becomes
self-defense because I didn't argue self-defense. I'm arguing justification.
the justification would be self-defense.
No, it's not
Yes.
the same thing.
Okay, sorry. Then how do you justify it? It's not self-defense?
Okay.
Then how do you justify
I'm
the shooting?
going by U.S. law there that he was justified in
If it's
shooting
not
with her.
self-defense, then what's the
okay,
justification of the shooting?
The justification of the shooting is that he had to move out of the way of the vehicle. He had a reasonable expectation that he may get hit by the vehicle.
Dude,
he's not, I mean, the point being, he's not going to be
you
charged.
are on something, and you're not being honest with all of us.
I looked at the video.
What is
you
in that
see one
cigar,
point,
Vince?
And I saw this point. The
What
point
is in that
being,
cigar? I think you need an intervention.
Tobacco, Nicaraguan tobacco, Cuban seed Nicaraguan tobacco, and a goddamn cheer wine.
Okay,
I've not
Vince,
been drinking tonight because I went and trained after my live stream.
Okay, Vince, if you're going to say the shooting is justified, there has to be a justification for the shooting. So it'd have to be to protect someone else, to protect the community, or to protect oneself. So self-defense. So it would have to be. Okay, so then you're arguing that it's self-defense.
I'm saying that the justification that he's making is for self-defense.
Okay.
In my opinion, okay, let me finish what I'm saying there. He could have simply moved out of the way without shooting there. That I will straight up acknowledge, which is what he should have done. Okay? But the fact of the matter is, and here's the thing. He wanted to kill her. That's a fact. And he's arguing for self-defense. He can get that. And he can get the justification.
So
and guess what, cousin? There ain't shit you can do about it.
So look, we're not going to agree on the fact that the first shot was fired after he moved out of the way. Okay, so we can't agree on that, agree to disagree, whatever.
Right.
What we can agree on is, one, he should have moved out of the way. Two, he absolutely should have known better since he's already been in the situation before and he got fucked up for it. So, and he kept shooting after there was clearly no threat to him or others.
That's correct.
Now,
I will acknowledge
now, based on the preponderance of evidence, he deliberately put himself in harm's way, and he kept shooting when there was no justifiable use of force at that point. How is he going to argue self-defense?
He deliberately did it. He just wasn't. I think he was just being an idiot for putting himself in front of the way.
Okay, look.
Have shot. Okay, let me
you need. So look, the self-defense case goes out the window when, one, you put yourself in a situation that is going to require force. That's why in most states there is an expectation to de-escalate. Even in stand your ground states, there's an expectation to de-escalate. So if there's somebody who is accosting you in some way, say, like, let's say you're in Florida or Texas, stand your ground state, and you, like, some guy's like, yo, I'm gonna fuck you up, motherfucker. Like, if you say, oh, well, why don't you pull out your gun then? I got my gun, pull out your gun. If you keep escalating things and deliberately creating a situation where you're going to have to use your gun, that self-defense case goes out the window. Even in stand your ground states, there is an expectation where you try to de-escalate and avoid having to shoot. If you deliberately put yourself in a situation where you're going to have to use force, you can't use the self-defense case anymore because you literally orchestrated a situation where you are going to end up killing somebody, and therefore it's not self-defense anymore. It's just murder. Or at least manslaughter.
How did he attack? Okay, how did the officer?
He was standing in front of the car.
To drive in front of the car.
He was wrongfully standing in front of the car. So that is against policy. That's against the department policy. He had already been in that situation before, so he would have known better. Yet he still decided to stand in front of the car. Secondly, you can only claim self-defense if you act in a manner that is in line with self-defense. So if, let's say somebody was punching me, right? Somebody came up, punched me in the face. I can hit them back. Now, if I knock them out, they're out cold, and I keep pounding their head in over and over and over again until like they're dead and there's nothing but pulp on the pavement, you can't claim self-defense anymore. That first strike that knocked them out is self-defense. If I keep pounding their head in until they're dead, that's no longer self-defense. That's murder, which is what he did. He shot. He was out of the way completely, kept shooting. Clearly, there's an intention with the shooting that was not self-defense. That was malicious.
That's right.
So, like, at the very least, this is like a manslaughter charge.
I will agree with, okay, I've already said in the very beginning he shouldn't have been standing where he was standing. He should not have fired the 2 shots on the side. He shouldn't even have fired at all. He should have just stepped to the side here. Now, with that being said, let's look at it from her end. If you have an officer standing in front of you, is she justified to just start driving towards him?
Well, no, I'm not saying she acted perfectly. What we're arguing here is whether or not there's justifiable use of force.
That's my whole point there. It's 2 idiots meeting each other, literally.
That's fine. What I'm saying is this is clearly not justifiable use of force. Look, the cop was doing something wrong. Even though she was doing something wrong, he knowingly was doing something he shouldn't have been doing. And
she shouldn't have been as well.
And his actions were clearly malicious. It wasn't self-defense. It was a malicious attack against her.
And he's making the argument that he was in defense of his life there.
Right. So that's why he kept shooting when he was completely out of the way. Right?
And U.S. law, and like I said, regardless as far as to him standing in front of it, U.S. law is clear on justification of shootings there.
Okay, so if somebody hits me and then I knock them out and then I keep pounding their head into the ground, that's self-defense?
There ain't nothing you could do about it there.
So if somebody punches me and then I hit them and knock them out and I keep punching them until they're dead, that's self-defense?
Excuse me? Well, we're not talking about punching someone in the head.
Well, right, we're talking about somebody who shot, and you could argue the first shot, he could have plausible deniability that it was self-defense.
He shouldn't even have shot the gun to begin with, and he should not have been in front of the vehicle.
Look,
but
so that's my point. Based on the preponderance of evidence, he doesn't have a reasonable case for self-defense. Because one, he shouldn't have been in front of the vehicle. He has had experience personally where he would have known at this point he should not be standing in front of a vehicle. So he orchestrated a situation where he would have had to have, like, you know, shot her, supposing that he couldn't have moved out of the way in time. And two, when he did move out of the way, he kept trying to fucking shoot her. So, like, clearly this isn't a case of self-defense. So, like, I think the guy should at least get a manslaughter charge.
Okay, so you're saying that even though he stood in front of the car, do you feel that he baited her to drive forward in front of her? To drive forward towards him? I'm sorry, but if someone's in front of my vehicle, the last thing I'm going to do, whether they have a gun or not, is drive forward. I don't want to hit them. I don't want my insurance premiums to go up.
Look, if you're an officer and you know this is a risk, why are you standing in front of the car? Like it's just like, look, there are plenty of things that criminals do that police have to make sure that they kind of, you know, protect themselves against. One of those things is not standing in front of a car because, yeah, somebody can just take off. So if you know that going into the situation, why would you orchestrate a situation where you may have to actually shoot the person? Like again, the main duty of a law enforcement officer is the protection of life. So if you're going to create a situation that would put you or the other person in danger, then you are failing your duty as an officer.
Yes, he completely failed his duty.
Okay.
I already said that.
So how does he have a plausible case for self-defense? He completely failed his duty. He orchestrated a situation where he was putting her life in jeopardy. And he maliciously attacked her. He was out of the way completely. By the time the second shot rang out, there is no debate. She was totally right next to him. There is no fucking chance her car could have moved sideways. It's not a future space vehicle. He kept shooting. So he was shooting at her maliciously.
Right, but U.S. law says that he can claim self-defense.
He can make any argument he wants. We're debating whether or not the shooting was justified. He can make that argument in court. Anybody can make whatever argument
by
they can.
U.S. law, it is justified.
Yeah,
look,
he could say space aliens took over his mind. He can make whatever argument he wants in court. That's his right.
Well, I mean,
we're arguing whether or not the shooting was justified. And again, it seems like you're agreeing with me based on the preponderance of evidence. The shooting absolutely was not justified. He failed his duty as an officer. He created a situation that would put that woman's life in jeopardy. And you agree, he was maliciously attacking her. By the time the second shot rang out, there was no reason for him to keep shooting.
Okay. But did he make her drive towards him?
So no.
Yes or no?
No, he didn't make her. But you agreed.
There you go.
You agreed he created a situation that would put her life in danger.
Law is concerned. Like I said before, the law should be modified to take into account what you're saying. But, if it went that way, George Zimmerman would be in jail. Kyle Rittenhouse would be in jail. There'd be a lot of people in jail. But like I said before, if he was in Canada and did that, yeah, he'd get a manslaughter charge. But this is America, and literally speaking, and you're going to have to understand this, people in America could get away with a whole lot of shit that you couldn't get away with in other countries.
Yeah, that's because that's because of the Trump administration being corrupt, and they're going to try to argue that these are federal agents and bullshit like that.
They don't need to argue. He has immunity. He has flat base. Federal immunity.
So first of all, he has federal immunity. He doesn't have immunity from state prosecution. So if state prosecutors want to go after him,
can't prosecute.
They can. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. Federal immunity only applies to federal charges.
They will, they will attempt to do so. It will go nowhere.
Well, we'd have to see.
He's going to.
So they'd have to argue. They would have to. They would have to argue.
He is going to walk scot-free with
they would have
money
to argue.
From his
they would have to make the argument that these charges have to be applied in federal court. So that could go up to the Supreme Court to decide whether or not that's the case, but we'll see.
The Supreme Court is full of conservatives. It ain't going nowhere.
Well, that doesn't mean that doesn't mean they're not necessarily going to be sympathetic to this case.
He's going to skip free like Kyle Rittenhouse. He's going to skip free like George Zimmerman.
By the way, Kyle Rittenhouse, George Zimmerman has nowhere. It's nothing like this. I don't know how you can compare those situations.
I mean, it's a similar case to where he's making an argument, a very wishy-washy argument for self-defense.
No.
And
so Kyle Rittenhouse had a solid case for self-defense. First of all, he did not do anything that would any rational person would think would antagonize a crowd. They were the ones who initiated contact with him, and he used as much restraint as is reasonably expected of somebody before he started shooting, and people kept coming at him. And the one guy even had a gun pointed at him. So Kyle Rittenhouse had a very easy case for self-defense. Same with George Zimmerman.
But you got one problem, and this is the same argument I'm going to make with the officer. He should have never been there at all. He had absolutely no training in security, criminal justice, law enforcement, or anything. This is a kid basically running around with a gun, okay? He shouldn't have never been there, much like that officer that shot that lady.
Oh my God.
He should have never been there to begin with there.
Okay, I think we've exhausted this conversation.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll see if you get state charges.
It's been a while since we debated. Why don't we debate about something else other than this here?
Yeah, maybe next time.
All right. I'm going to finish. Oh, my cigar's done gone out, so.
All right.
All right. So.
All right. Well, thanks for the chat. Until next time.
Yep.
Take
Peace
care,
and
Vince.
soul.
Oh, boy. That was something. All right, I just have to take a piss. I'll be right back. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'll be right back. I just gotta pee. All right. I am back. Oh boy.
You know, VG, I'm not trying to sound racist, but people like that are why white nationalists think people of color are less intelligent than white people.
Yeah, I mean, Vince Goodrum's just dumb. It's not that he's black. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. Dodo donated $2. Let me see. Ramzan Kadyrov reportedly on dialysis due to kidney failure. Good. Kadyrov is an asshole. Yeah. That guy's a massive piece of shit. Oh. Fluffy babies. Is your palace catch? My god, look at those little fluffy babies. Oh my goodness. Palace cats are so nice. Wow. Those are good palace cats. Oh my god. Sadly, this is AI. Free Iran. Yeah, really. Yeah, where are they at now, right?
Wake up, work,
I'm not
gym.
watching that. He sounds very mellow nervous.
What right does the West have to determine who governs in Iran and who doesn't?
The people on the streets in their thousands.
Who fucking cares? The guy's just a windbag. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Homeless people make more money loitering outside of Target than you make on your streams.
That's nice. Don't care.
Nigga, I bet if these ICE agents did the same to Muslim immigrants, your nigga mulatto ass would be the bootlicker. The fact is she hit him with the car, she turned the wheels towards the officer. He doesn't have 20/20 hindsight like you do, monkey ass.
That's nice.
Likely suspects in other parts of the world as well. While international sanctions do, in theory, keep the Russians away from potential products like hardware and software that might help their war effort, the Ukrainians are finding that Western companies are supplying Russians with much needed equipment and software for their war machine. How is this even possible? Well, it depends on context, but the Russians might be employing a sophisticated network of agents and organizations to buy these products for their war effort without directly violating sanctions. The Ruskies played the Cold War. They're using the lessons of the past here, along with recent lessons, to help them best understand Ukraine and international sanctions. Just remember, the bad guys never play by the rules. All right, now back to guns and vodka. The Russians have used every...
Seriously, Trump needs to stop waiting for deciding and trying to negotiate a deal with Iran again. What the hell is he doing? Just bomb the hell out of him already. Official death toll estimates are 2,000, unofficial are 12,000 more. PP die as he waits. I hate him.
Yeah, thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Creative accounting trick to keep themselves afloat. They've aligned themselves with China, Iran, North Korea. They've sold their oil through shadow networks and proxies, bringing cold hard cash. They've built a labor market more conducive to the war effort, making mass military mobilization easier. And they've used Western fickleness in Europe and America to undermine any foreign intervention against Russia's war effort in Ukraine. Nevertheless, Russia has made a serious gamble. Putin is what you'd probably term a professional gambler, maybe even a degenerate gambler. He has made a series of gambles knowing how the game works, or at least pretending that he knows how things work. And so far, he's done pretty okay. But the problem with gamblers is that they have a hard time quitting when they're ahead, and this has put Putin's Russia at a very serious disadvantage. The Russians have used military strikes to target civilian infrastructure in Ukraine, gambling that these strikes might cripple Ukraine and push Ukraine in certain directions that are favorable to the Russians. Now, in October 2025, the Russians have been countered by Ukrainian attacks against Russian oil and gas infrastructure. Putin gambled on the initial invasion of Ukraine to be only countered by like a stiff, well-armed Ukrainian resistance that would ultimately collapse. But these are two of many gambles that Putin has made, and the biggest of Putin's gambles is that he has been taking a costly war against Ukraine while the Russian economy might not be prepared for it. According to the Bank of Finland, the Russian economy of 2025 is a house of cards built over a war in Ukraine. The Russian economy, as miraculous as it might seem to outsiders right now, is just smoke and mirrors. On top of all this, the Russian war in Ukraine is taking money away from the consumer economy, which has shrunk considerably. And the war is driving money toward the military and away from critical civilian infrastructure. This is why we see stories of like electrical grid problems coming from Russia. And in the Carnegie Politica, Alexander Propenko writes, Russia's full-scale war against Ukraine has lasted almost as long as the Soviet involvement in World War II and seems endless. Think about that one for a moment. Propenko furtherly finds that the current Russian budget framework is crying out for spending cuts. Oil and gas revenue are falling due to discounting pricing, the cost of logistics involving numerous intermediaries, the risk of export restrictions and new price caps, and fluctuations in the ruble exchange rate. Treasury revenues for the first half of 2025 fell by 16.9% to 4.74 trillion rubles due to lower revenues from the sale of energy commodities. News doesn't get any rosier than that, guys. According to the same report by Propenko, the Russian economy is superheated with unemployment hovering around 2.2%. That's like no unemployment when it's 2.2%. Everybody who wants a job has a job. If Russia were to begin demobilizing today, it has around 400,000 soldiers it'll need to do just that with, need to find them jobs. This is going to be devastating for the Russian economy. But it doesn't stop there. The Russian wartime economy is heavily favored the military and military-adjacent industries. These employ a lot of Russians. When the war is over, even with the Kremlin's plan to rebuild inventories, I mean, we're going to see something that's detrimental to the overall Russian economy. You can't just keep building tanks.
Hello.
This has led to a number of experts sounding alarms that Russia and Putin, and specifically, could escalate things before they give in. This will allow Russia to maintain a superheated economy even for a little while longer, and it could, in theory, help Putin, Russia's gambler-in-chief, save face. Ironically here, Russia can't keep the war going without continued support of the West. I'm joking when I say this. Kind of. A recent Reuters report found out that Ukraine's closest allies had deep and lucrative economic ties with Russia, especially when it came to natural gas. This relationship has led to some snarky comments from the Trump administration, which has repeatedly said the Europeans can't fight Russians while doing business with them. I mean, heck, we've been saying that back.
What is the ethical underground you talked to Sky Morgan ons called? The fuck? Like, oh my god.
Back since Obama. Stop buying Russian gas, guys. But, you know, what do I know? I'm just some old grunt talking in front of the camera. All right, here's that Lyndon Johnson story. So Lyndon Johnson was running for a political office. I said it was back in the 1930s. And he apparently was going through a cemetery, and they were writing down the names on the gravestones in the cemetery in order to register them to vote and then cast ballots in their name. So basically falsifying election results and or stuffing a ballot box. And this is a story that Lyndon Johnson told. So one day him and his buddies were writing down the names inside a cemetery, and one of Lyndon Johnson's buddies said to him, "Hey, I can't read the name on this tombstone." And Lyndon Johnson said, "That man has a right to vote as every other man does in this cemetery." And apparently Lyndon Johnson used to tell that story. All right, thank you guys so much for watching.
Why do I get asked, like, the dumbest fucking questions?
Not only instantly believed, they're told that every feeling that they have, trust their intuition.
You're not dramatic. He's harassing you. That pit in your stomach, it's real.
And that's because women are assumed to be acting from distress, and men are assumed to be acting from entitlement or poor regulation. They encounter a very different assumption than women who do the same. They're always told that psychological insight and openness and good faith communication will stabilize the situation. But if they find themselves in a conflict with women who show dark tetrad traits, like we talked about earlier in the previous video, this is part 2. So we're talking about narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy, and sadism. These are not ordinary relational conflicts. They're adversarial systems. And the advice fathers are given where they don't take these traits into account, that will become a catastrophe. Look at this first video where you see the attitude towards forcing men into therapy.
When things started falling apart in my marriage, I went to therapy and did a deep dive into my own patterns, thinking maybe if I change, everything else will fall into place. Heck, I'm a couples therapist and I should know better. But when my former...
It wasn't self-defense, but it was self-defense, Vince Goodrum.
Yeah, that's what you get debating Vince Goodrum. Thanks for the donation, Ben Boy.
What you're watching here is therapy being reframed to something of a moral gatekeeper. Notice what's implied. Therapy is not presented as an optional tool. It's presented as evidence of character. And when men say no to therapy, it's a personal failing.
My former partner wouldn't join me. I didn't know what else to do. But relationships don't heal because one person works harder. They heal when both people take...
This chick's a bitch. You can just fucking tell. Just absolute bitch. Gee, I wonder why a guy wouldn't want to go to a therapist. Like, holy fuck. Yeah, let's talk to a stranger who can easily be manipulated into like buying one fucking story when like since they have no fucking clue what's going on.
Take responsibility.
This is the very common sleight of hand where she says she took all the accountability. So he didn't want to come to therapy, immediate failing, because there's no other way to solve a failing relationship than going to therapy. But she knows that whichever therapist she goes to see, she is going to side with her. And this matters because family lawyers, they explicitly warn fathers to avoid therapy during active litigation for this reason. Not because all therapy is bad, but because of the emotional disclosure in this adversarial system that becomes evidentiary material. And when fathers go to therapy and describe what they experience, so patterns of provocation, reputational sabotage, manipulation, female therapists, they respond with the reflexive neutrality. It takes two, you're both contributing. Let's focus on what you can control. And notice how this is not the attitude women are met with. The mothers who come to therapy are immediately believed. They don't even have to say the word narcissist. It's suggested to them.
If you're going to divorce a narcissist and you have
This
kids,
is also a therapy.
21 or 21st when we tell us how much do steroids cost? Like practically nothing. Whatever.
You need the most detailed parenting plan, lots of rules.
If you're gonna antagonize me like this, I'm just not reading or listening to any of your donos, and I'm just gonna skip them, dude.
No loopholes, strong consequences. This is not your average person, the average kind of divorce. This is a high conflict divorce.
Before anything is initiated, you're told what to do. You're told how to deal with that narcissist. Notice the absence of moral language. They're coached to assume bad faith, to disengage, document, and reduce exposure immediately. Now contrast this to what men are told in the same situation. Fathers are often exhausted, they're hypervigilant, they're angry, sleepless, and they're terrified of losing their children. They feel them slipping away. And these are not pathological states. These are normal responses to psychological abuse, to what they're experiencing, prolonged coercive stress. And therapy rarely names them when men present them. Instead, men are diagnosed as anxious, emotionally dysregulated, volatile, prone to rumination. So where female hostility is contextualized, understood, male distress is medicalized. And this matters because once a man accepts that his reactions are the primary problem, he becomes psychologically disarmed. He stops trusting his perceptions. And that reminds me of something in my my supervisor once told me when I started out in psychiatry. He said, because I asked him, how do you know if these schizophrenics that we're working with, how do you know if they might be telling us the truth, or should we just always assume that they're lying? And then he said, Hannah, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean that someone isn't following you. And he might have been a bit cuckoo, but that just stuck with me. It's like, yes. And I think that applies here. They are getting paranoid and these things are actually happening. Women come to therapy and they are not only instantly believed, they're told that every feeling that they have, trust their intuition.
You're not dramatic. He's harassing you. That pit in your stomach, it's real.
And that's because women are assumed to be acting from distress and men are assumed to be acting from entitlement or poor regulation. Female harm is sentimentalized and male suffering is disciplined. When women disengage is boundary setting, and when men disengage it's abandonment. When women document, it's safety, and when men document, it's obsession. And therapy does nothing to correct this bias.
Gummy is about 2 years old now. He's a sweet little kitty. Love my Gum. He's so big. Look at his big cat head. My goodness, she's big.
It enforces it. What therapists should be helping father with is recognizing the pattern. First, it's a provocation. It's subtle, it's a baiting message, framed as concern, a manufactured crisis involving the kids, for example, an emotionally charged accusation that demands response. And this is to pull the father into an emotional engagement. And then comes the reaction mining. And the goal here is not resolution, never resolution. It's reaction. It's anger, panic, defensiveness. That's the best. And the timing is always middle of the night or right before an evaluation. And then next comes the narrative capture. The reaction is stripped of context and reframed, repackaged. Messages will be selectively quoted, and then third parties are pulled in, teachers, professionals, evaluators, police, guardians, whomever, and each of them receive a very carefully curated version of these events. And then finally comes the institutional leverage. Allegations appear, welfare checks are requested, emergency motions are filed, and then the father, already destabilized from this initial provocation, he's now placed on the defensive. And what do therapists do? They tell fathers to remain authentic. And what do they teach women to do? Interrupt the cycle in the first stage. They call it supply starvation. And when you starve the supply, when you refuse to react, there will be an escalation. And that's proof that it's worked, that this is exactly what you are dealing with. Because the dark tetrad personalities, they don't respond to boundaries by negotiating or being reasonable. They will punish the boundary enforcement. What legal strategists do, who cares about the father, they'll prepare them for the backlash and train them to remain unchanged and unreactive. And therapy does the exact opposite. The most damaging thing that therapy instills in fathers in these cases is that if I behave well enough, things will calm down. But when they're dealing with dark tetrad dynamics, the opposite is true, that there will be an escalation in response to the loss of control. So the correct frame of mind is, if I reduce emotional supply, exposure, narrative opportunities, then the escalation will become less effective. So in essence, stop donating emotional materials that will be used as evidence against you. But for women, therapy and legal advice align from very early on, and they are helped by a system that assumes her good.
That makes it
I don't know why people are so fucking cucked, where they think women are just innocent.
so much easier on him to just Venmo me instead of going to the bank.
Would you not want it to be easy if he's going to send you money?
It's used as a tool for female sadism, this child support.
Yep.
Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Shakespeare wrote this, and it's still true, and nowhere do we see this better than in so-called high conflict custody battles. A lot of fathers enter these custody battles with a naive assumption, and that assumption is reinforced by therapists, professionals, evaluators, and courts. And that is that the maternal instinct sets a moral floor on their behavior. That however hurt or angry they may be, they won't deliberately undermine the child's well-being. And that is because we're all raised with the social narrative that maternal motivation is inherently child-centered. And that naivete ends up costing them a
Most women don't give a shit about their kids, honestly.
lot. And I'm going to show you some things today that might rid you of it. Look at this, for example. You look happier. Thanks, I got divorced and gave him full custody. And then she's dancing. So she's saying how happy she is that she gave up her child. People ask with genuine disbelief, how can a mother weaponize her own children to punish an ex-partner? To understand what happens in these cases, we have to rid ourselves of this comfortable fiction that female harmful behavior is driven by pain and confusion, or that she's simply emotionally dysregulated. It's simply too easy to call all destructive female behavior cluster B pathologies or borderline behavior. A much more accurate lens comes from trait.
Manuel donated $2.
Alright friends, it's T and I'm back with another video, and in this video I will showcase how two bullying victims handle their traumas differently. And these two bullying victims that I'm going to be talking about are natural hypertrophy and Louis Rossmann. And I'm going to base their experiences and how they dealt with it and how they rationalize it using two of their videos. And these are the videos that I'm talking about. So now let's start with the commonality between the two. So they were both raised by a busy single-parent household. Both NH and Louis Rossmann had one of their parents pass away when they were young, and I would assume that both of their respective...
I can't listen to this. Wow.
You mentioned...
I've never seen such a fucking retard use a microphone before.
From personal experience, being aware of the dark side of anabolic use. What is that?
How long do you have anxiety?
Already seen that.
It's that no doubt.
Why the fuck would I watch this? Why are you sending me this?
Hey, it's Professor Dave. I'm going to tell you about steroids.
He knows a lot about the science stuff, Professor
I'm gonna guess this beta male doesn't know shit about them.
Dave explains.
When people hear the word steroids, they typically think of anabolic steroids, which are synthetic derivatives of testosterone. But in actuality, steroids refer to a class of molecules that includes not just hormones, but also certain vitamins and cholesterol. Let's learn a bit about the structure and function of steroids. Steroids are all derivatives of this ring system, which is comprised of 4 rings. The A, B, and C rings are 6-membered rings, while the D ring is a 5-membered ring. There are also always methyl groups on these 2 carbons, and for ease of communication, we will always number this ring system the following way. This is carbon 1, and numbers 1 through 10 will wrap around rings A and B this way. Then carbon 11 jumps over to ring C, and we wrap around rings C and D, lastly numbering these 2 methyl groups like this. All the steroids as beta substituent problems. Regulate
based psychology, the dark tetrad traits, that is narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy, and sadism. So
Sugging on a dig I'm gay yeah, sugging on a dig I'm gay yeah, one more time, sugging on the fucking dig because I'm gay as fuck yeah.
That's nice, thanks for the donation, dude.
where cluster B asks, what is she feeling? Dark tetrad will ask, what is she gaining? These are not diagnoses. This is much more widespread, and we immediately associate it with male behavior, and that is because it was studied mostly in populations of men, so prison populations and military and corporate and politics. So we're still under this public assumption that these are male traits. And that's because female dark tetrad expresses itself in a different way, more subtle, more relational aggression rather than overt aggression. Like we talked.
Why did you skip all the videos? Because they're not worth watching. You watch other people's videos that are even longer sometimes because they're worth watching. You didn't even spend 2 minutes watching the videos I sent you. Yeah, because they're shit, you fucking retard. You sent me a 45 fucking minute video about some dumbasses talking about bullshit I don't care about? You expect me to watch that? Fuck you, idiot.
about in the earlier video, but it is equally widespread in women. As you can see, even The Guardian reported on that. More women may be psychopaths than previously thought, thinks experts. It is also heritable, as you see here, and that means we cannot simply say, oh, it's a trauma response. And we also have research showing that in parental alienation cases, the majority of those driving that behavior are mothers, not fathers. So fathers lose not because they are bad parents, not because they're disengaged, but because they are applying normal psychological assumptions. The first trait we're going to show is the narcissism. The narcissistic injury here in these cases, it's not about the abandonment or something the father did. It's the humiliation inherent in the rejection of the failed marriage. And a mother who has excessive narcissistic traits, she would see share parenting as a threat. It's humiliating to her.
Chill, man, I'm giving you money. You don't have to be such a fucking asshole. Fuck you. Thought you'd be interested in them because they're about steroids. That's great. Thanks.
Sign of the father's continued bond, the kid's attachment to him. It's this intolerable reminder that he didn't just disappear. And I found this interesting video right here where you see two things. You see this me, I am the center, and this thing that really annoys me, where why shouldn't you stay in the relationship for the kids? Why shouldn't they be the center? You made this decision. You are responsible for your choices. Why shouldn't you stick it out?
You can either stay in this to stay for the kids, or you can realize that, and this was the big aha moment for me, was when I realized, oh my gosh, I'm about to live out the relationship I saw my parents go through if I stay for the sake of staying for my kids. And that's when I went, I'm raising two boys. Like, I need them to see their mother loved, adored, ravished.
So the narcissistic injury here.
Jesus. Holy fuck, what a bitch.
Is that she's no longer loved, adored, and ravished. And this video is from a courtroom where a father has custody of the child, but the mother is somehow under the illusion that the child support is for her.
So why are you here?
Just for my son, of course.
Right, but you're maybe you're missing it. It's going like this,
Well, he
going
wants
over
to
your
stop
head.
paying the child support, and I don't think that he should stop paying. I think he
He
should pay more.
should stop paying if the
I love
child
this
has
woman.
been living with him for the past 3 years under your original court. Under your original court order, Mr. Eugene, give me a second. Under your
The fuck? He has custody of the child, but she should get child support? Oh my god.
your original court order,
Dude,
you
like, by the way,
were the person.
this chick is fucking hideous and fucking retarded. Like, how the fuck did he get with this dumb bitch?
And that the child was living with.
Yes.
Not him.
Yes.
So that means you voluntarily relinquished conservatorship over to dad.
Yes.
Right. So dad should be the person receiving child support from you.
From me.
That's what I said.
As she
That
rolls
doesn't
her
sound
eyes.
right to you?
No, ma'am.
Why doesn't that sound right? Because you're the mom.
Yes. And I have to buy things for my son, and I can't do it alone.
He buys things for your son.
Well, I need to do that too.
You make $400,000 a year, ma'am.
Well, I have employees and things to pay.
What? I'm sorry. How the fuck does this dumb bitch make 400 grand a year? What the fuck? Is this fake? Is this all staged? Like, what? I'm sorry, like, that's just hard to believe. Sid donated $2. Why do people send you completely random, old, boring, stupid, pointless videos and expect you to watch them? Do they want the stream to be boring? Apparently. They're just entitled fucking retards. Bro, a 50-minute video with 200 views that's years old about a topic nobody cares about. This is what I deal with, dude. Thanks for the donation, Sid.
I mean,
Okay.
I don't think that he should stop paying the child support.
What do you think he should do?
Pay me more.
Pay you more?
Yes.
While your son lives with him?
Well, I still see my son.
Okay, yeah, but...
Like maybe once a month, you know, maybe.
Oh, I see him more often than that.
Maybe.
No.
Maybe once a month.
I see him more often than that.
What's more often than that?
Well, once a week, maybe.
So this is...
If this is real, I have to know how the fuck you make 400 grand a year being a fucking retard. How would a retard make 400 grand a year? Does she sell fentanyl or crystal meth or something? Is she a drug dealer?
This is clear narcissism. There's no thought of her son. None. So the way that women use the child support...
Oh my god, look at this hideous fucking subhuman freak. What in the fuck is this thing? This looks like a special effect.
Is evidence of the narcissism because they view the child support as a payment for their hurt. This was a woman who got quite infamous for these court updates, and she, in the end, her child support was canceled from a very reasonable judge because she had been spending it on bags and posting that online. So take a look at this.
So I had court again today because a new judge was assigned to the case. If you don't know, I get $3,700 of child support every month, and I use it on myself. I don't use it on my kids.
And this is a
wow.
Woman who just thinks that it's all about her. I mean, if you can watch this video and still hold on to this maternal motivation is child-centered, you're willfully blind.
Took my baby away because my ex-boyfriend is an abuser and I'm not with him anymore, so I want my baby back.
Right, but the child hasn't been living with you. The child has been living with him.
Yeah.
It's like she's talking about a car.
With him.
Yeah, because of my ex, and I'm not with my ex anymore.
Yeah, so no, it doesn't work like that.
You can see why this judge is now my new spirit animal. She's just amazing. And that narcissistic injury brings on a couple of other things. So that will activate the next trait. So Machiavellianism, which is deceit and manipulation. And we should make a distinction here between the manipulation of Machiavellianism and what we experience as emotional manipulation of the cluster B, of the borderline. The borderline patient, she's ruled by her emotions. She can't suppress an emotional state to make a long-term plan. But the Machiavellian person can. That's what they do. So they'll appear coherent. They'll appear always calm in court. The behavior will never be blatant enough to catch them out or to confront. Each step is framed as temporary, cautious, professionally advised, and contact will be reduced incrementally. Nothing looks overly malicious. So you can actually look at the Machiavellianism as the psychological opposite of what a borderline patient will do, where the emotions are chaotic, everything's chaotic, and where the emotional state and the moment rules. And if you go to divorce talk or family court talk, any one of these, you'll see that women are coached, taught how to do this long before any separation is filed. Take a look at this, for example.
Want to know how I have a court order for $1,200 a month in child support for one child? Let me tell you something that most moms are leaving on the table. They forget that daycare expenses, after-school programs, extracurriculars, medical expenses actually matter, and they're called add-ons most of the time.
Wow. Women are insane cunts. Holy fuck. I am so glad I am not a brain-broken retard who decided to have a kid, because holy fucking shit would that have ruined my fucking life. I'll stick to just raising cats. Cats are the best. Yes. Look at this cat. I would much rather have a cat. Do you guys see this cat? This is a really good cat. Oh my goodness, he is so good. Oh. Look at his kitty tummy. Oh my goodness. This is good. This is very good. Love my kitty. Oh my god. Look how big he is.
This is just my own experience. I am not a lawyer, but I have been in custody and child support court for about...
This is what that subhuman woman reminds me of as a character from that show I remember as a kid, Mr. Meaty, lol.
Oh, she's a fighter. Oh, I'm real in your hand. Oh, yeah, come on. Come on, baby. Oh, she'll get tired. Don't worry, Parker. Yeah.
Yeah, it does actually look like that weird character. You'd think she'd spend the fucking money on plastic surgery. Thanks for the donation, Indo Vegan.
7 years now here in California, and so I've learned a few things.
So you see her expression is satisfied. She has that little smirk. She's completely calm. She knows exactly what to say. She's been on this rodeo before. And if you turn off the sound, you can't really distinguish this video from the Instagram videos where women will talk about self-care and have a bath and this and that. It's completely void of any remorse. So it goes hand in hand with the psychopathy trait, where that you can cause harm without remorse, without any thought of other people's feelings. So this is deception, manipulation, planning, harm.
Add-ons are not optional. They were actually my right. They're the law, so I utilize that. And when you pay $1,000 a month in daycare expenses, half of that actually has to get paid by the other parent. That's what I learned for myself.
So the narcissism is clear. This is about her well-being, and she's proud. Another way we see Machiavellianism is if we go to the blogs, where fathers tell their stories. There are things that happen again and again and again. So the mother will position herself in a place of emotional authority. So she doesn't tell the child what to think. She's able to tell a child gradually how to understand what has already happened. So, comments are always framed as reflections, never accusations. They'll always frame it as concern. So it's always been difficult for him when you did that. He probably finds it challenging to deal with your worries on his own. That's something she cares. She understands. He doesn't mean to get angry. He never meant to get angry. He just struggles when things feel out of control. So it's about him. We care about him. Each one preserves plausible deniability, but cumulatively, they rewrite the emotional meaning of past interactions. So it doesn't matter what the father does in the moment. And it doesn't matter how he plans to change in the future or what he does in the future, because she's sitting there with a child rewriting the past. And then we know how that can affect memories. The child's own memory starts to shift. This is an absolutely devastating Reddit thread. Parental alienation, alienated dad, helpless hope. You see all these stories written down where they're absolutely powerless against what happens when the child is with the mother. And this worsens during adolescence when children begin to question authority and they seek moral alignment. The mother doesn't position herself as a director, but an interpreter. So she's the one who helps them make sense of their experiences. And then gradually a shared narrative then forms between the mother and the child. Something they often do is that he's demonized, he's pathologized, he's emotionally limited or easily overwhelmed, or well-meaning but unsafe. He's always found it difficult to articulate things. And therapists make this much worse. They are there, and we have to understand something. Psychiatrists, they have to straddle this balance of being a doctor and being someone that women come to drink coffee with and gossip about their ex. And, they struggle with this balance, let me tell you. This is one such therapist. Now listen to what she's saying and put it in the framework of what I just told you about Machiavellianism.
You show your child that you have boundaries with all high conflict people in your life. And it might be their parent. And you have to start showing some boundaries with that. And your child will follow suit.
Right. You can see what I said. We're just concerned about the children. With all, it's very carefully worded. With all people in their lives. So those are the people sitting and talking to women, guiding them through these custody battles. So they teach them how to teach the kids therapy speak. And so fathers describe really on repeat how their children come home to him and they feel distant, and the conversations feel monitored, and his jokes fall flat, and they say things in clinical language like, this is making me feel uncomfortable, or I'm needing space, and suddenly bedroom doors have to be closed although they were never closed before. And you would be shocked at how many fathers say that the kids start documenting what they're doing, that they are monitored by the kids, that the kids record them. That is something that occurs with disturbing frequency. And there's, of course, this alliance between the children and the mother over time that forms. And this is then when the father has been successfully pathologized as the damaging part. And in these cases of Machiavellian female psychopathy, the violence lies in what's done to the meaning of the relationship between the father and the children. The bond is severed through reinterpretation. And the children, she never has to instruct them to reject him. So that is the distinct danger of female relational psychopathy. It leaves no fingerprint.
Yes, you should absolutely be filing contempt every single.
Can guarantee you there is a much larger proportion of females that have psychopathic traits or full-blown psychopaths versus men. It's just that they go undetected.
Time your ex is missing a payment. I filed my first contempt charge when my ex was 28 days late on his payment, and that was only 2 months after he was even put on a formal child support order. Do not let these people get $16,000 behind. When someone in the comments is like, oh, mine owes $50,000, like, why are you letting them do this? Like, foot on neck.
Dude, this shit is like so fucking insane. So if a dude's behind on child support payments, chances are it's because like they literally can't afford to pay it, right? So what's the solution to that? Put him in jail so that he loses his job, so that he can't make any more payments, and then put him in jail again because you literally created a situation that makes it impossible for him to make payments. Like, it's so fucking retarded.
Get on them. You file a contempt charge, then you'll go to court. They'll have to be found in contempt, like, you didn't pay it. Are you working?
You see the same thing here in her face. She's gloating. She's showing contempt. This is about vindication, and we'll get to vindication in a short bit. But this is just to show how it's a master plan. This is very different from borderline pathology. This is very strategic and calculated harm. I mean, we're not going to get into how much money men have to pay in child support and how often they have no ability to pay it. But there is no feeling for the father. He doesn't have the child and he has to pay. There's complete lack of remorse. There's no way to look at this if not through the lens of psychopathy.
I was trying to prove that my baby daddy was inconsistent. I was trying to keep our original plan that we agreed upon, which was him having our son every other weekend. He was trying to get 50-50 because I was also putting him on child support, which he did not like. So I was trying to keep our plan. He was trying to get half of that. And so.
Okay, so you just called a father who wants 50-50 custody a deadbeat dad? That is how easy dads are labeled deadbeat. It's just someone you don't like anymore. He's a deadbeat dad.
And so my proof moving forward was proving that he doesn't deserve more than what he was getting because he's inconsistent. So what I was doing was I was printing out calendars of them each month up until our court date, and every day that it wasn't his parenting time, I would document and write down how many times he was calling his son, or if he was calling his son at all. So I would.
Hey, how are you doing lately? I haven't seen any training videos. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just haven't wanted to do any training streams because everyone fucking annoys the absolute shit out of me. For whatever reason, when I'm doing the workout streams, people say the dumbest, most annoying, retarded fucking shit constantly, and it drives me fucking nuts, and it just makes it harder to work out, and pain in the ass. I might do a stream in a few days, but thanks for that donation, Wolf D.
Jot down how many times that he called his son that day and how long those conversations were for. And then again, if he wasn't.
So you see, she's documenting absolutely everything. She's telling women how to lay this master plan. And you can just imagine if you're alone with a child, you have a busy day. And then as a father, the hoops that you can make him jump through, the way that you can make him miss those calls, and you're detailing how long those calls are. You can just imagine how easy it is to set a dad up to look inconsistent. That's all you have to show. He's inconsistent.
Again, if he wasn't calling, then I would jot down that there was a no phone call that day. And then on the times that it was his parenting time, I would write down if he was ever late and how long he was late to pick me up our son. And then when it was time to drop him back off to me, I was writing down if he was trying to drop off our son earlier than he was supposed to and how much earlier than what he was supposed to.
He was too early.
And again, if he was making plans to do something on his weekend and wanted to skip a weekend, I would write no show. So I was just jotting down everything like that.
So they know from very early on that they have to do all this documentation. Here's another video that woman made where she says, walking into custody court with my binder of documentation I've been collecting for years. I don't mess around when it comes to the safety of my baby. So she has this, I'm the hero in the story, although she's causing her babies a lot of hurts, most likely. And this is just, it's female peacocking. Another Machiavellian move that fathers recount a lot is that women, the ex-wife will call the police to the house at very opportune nights, sometimes repeatedly, following reports of vague concerns. And we know that there needs to be no incident or evidence or charges required in these situations. The objective, of course, is not conviction. Her objective is destabilization. And also the creation of just enough documentation to shape an impression. And this has the added benefit of calmly watching him unravel. So he'll be sleep deprived, he'll have heightened anxiety, he'll have this creeping sensation of being watched and mild paranoia, and be under a huge amount of emotional strain. And then he has to then the next day go to mediation, he has to go to court, and his credibility slowly erodes because of his sort of proximity to official attention. That's all it takes. And then he's in this state of emotional strain. He hasn't slept. He's anxious, easily provoked in moments when institutional actors are observing. And his reactions will be seen through the familiar lens of aggressive male. It takes very little, because fathers, they're always viewed through a risk-first lens, and mothers are being seen through a care-first.
What's hilarious is you can look at the data on this. Women are terrible at raising children. Absolutely awful. So it's so fucking baffling that there's this hesitation to even give 50-50 custody. It's just fucking crazy. Do men procrastinate more than women? No. Women do more than just procrastinate. They will come up with any excuse imaginable to not do anything and try to delegate every fucking task.
Lens. And fathers will then always describe the same thing. I kept waiting for her to feel bad. I kept waiting for her to feel guilty. But guilt is not the mechanism at work here. This is Machiavellian psychopathy-driven alienation. This is instrumental, calculated harm without feeling remorse. The father's unraveling is the fuel, the goal, and the reward. And that brings us over to the last trait. And this is seen through a couple of examples. Fathers will describe how they try to co-parent, they try to do a swap a weekend because he has a birthday to celebrate or something eventful, and she doesn't have any conflicting plans, but she'll persist in saying, no, we're sticking to the schedule. And this confuses them because they know, okay, well, it's reciprocal. So when you'll ask later on, I'll say no to you. She must know that. She must understand that. And then she refuses anyway. What looks like stubbornness, it looks like irrationality. It can be perfectly understood through the lens of female sadism, which we never talk about. But I'm going to show you exactly what I mean.
You don't take child support payments from him, do you?
Yes, he leaves
so
it there.
blocking on Venmo?
He should. That makes it so much easier on him to just Venmo me instead of going to the bank. He's doing everything the easiest that it can possibly be done for Chase, and he's done that the whole time we've been
Why
together.
would you not want it to be easy if he's going to send you money? Why would you not want that to be easy for him? That's
overruled.
Why would you not want that to be? He's in school and working, and sending you a Venmo is a problem?
This woman is sitting in court and claiming the father needs to go to a bank. It's not, she cancels her Venmo.
Fucking insane. Like, it just, what the fuck?
Payments because she wants him to feel the loss. She wants him to go to a bank to pay her child support. It's used as a tool for female sadism, this child support. Here she's dancing, filed child endangerment charges, and she dances. She's gleeful. So the TikTok reads, when child maintenance service rings to inform you that the father, owes $13,000 in child support and found guilty in court and charged with culpable negligence and sentenced to 42 days in prison if he doesn't pay. And it couldn't have happened to a nice guy, except it happens to nice guys all the time. We know this. Just her eyes, just her glee. And here also, more dancing. And in these moments, the revenge for the narcissistic injury, it eclipses.
Dr. K is a fucking retard. The fuck are you talking about? That guy's a fucking narcissist lying fuckwit.
every other consideration. This intolerable fact that the father still has a life, that a role and a relationship with the children, it finds expression in small deniable acts of cruelty. And so every no to the father is a reasserting dominance. It's a reminder, I control access. I decide what you get. You will feel the loss. And she raises hope just enough so that it can be crushed. They don't want to see you. You should respect their wishes. Or, I've already packed their bags, but I can't force them. And the cruelty is never explicit. It lies in their refusal to let the wound close. So that's why they'll do things like move far away, because they know it won't be enforced. The narcissistic injury demands vindictiveness. So, and here is a woman who's using child support to get back at her ex-husband.
January or February of this year, when he got engaged, he came to me and he goes, well, the honeymoon that we are planning, I need my passport for. So will you please waive the back child support? Because of the amount of the back child support, he can't legally get a passport to leave the United States. And I told him I would think about it. And so, like, I was trying to think about it. I made a list of pros and cons, his inconsistencies with pay.
Here we go. Fucking fat ass pig bitch.
His child support in the first place, his switching jobs to avoid paying his child support. And he called me almost every
Switching jobs to avoid paying? What?
single day for a week and a half straight. You said you'd think about it. And I was like, whatever. I was like, I'll just write the damn thing so you quit, so you leave me alone. So essentially I felt forced into it, one, so I could get the passports for my own children, but also because he kept calling and asking me about it. And then
So he's using the child support to hold him hostage. He wants to get a passport. And we have this tendency to think of child support not paid as a just terrible behavior. But they're really struggling. This is a lot of money they have to pay. But the comments are, don't do it. Don't, never do it. Never think about. So this is a very common move. Holding the father hostage because of the back pay. What we rarely recognize is that the women are optimizing for emotional pay, immediate emotional payoff. And that payoff is seeing him suffer. It's sadism. That's why they can sit there and calmly seeing him unravel. They revel in it. And this possibility is so difficult for us to accept because it violates that core assumption that maternal behavior is guided by the child's interests. And it's also difficult because we would have to acknowledge that harm itself can be rewarding for women, especially when it's morally sanctioned. And contemporary mental health discourse has no place for this truth. And until that architecture is named, men will continue to lose, not because they're bad parents, not because they're deadbeat dads, but because they're playing the wrong game.
Don't get married, don't have kids. Don't fall for the stupid fucking trap. Just raise cats, buy motorcycles, live your own life. It's just not worth it. You're just fucking stupid if you get married and have kids. Just dumb as fuck. Alright, well, it's late. I'm gonna get to bed. I don't have to train tomorrow, so should be able to stream earlier, do some more gaming and shit tomorrow. So we'll do that tomorrow. But big thanks to everybody who donated on Streamlabs. Really appreciate it. And sweet dreams. See you all tomorrow.